Fantasy Football Wednesday. Man, how great it is. How great it is. I was almost late. I was almost late because I'm sitting here and I'm on ESPN and I'm going over some of the fantasy football rankings, and I see a noticeable omission. I'm seeing something that a lot of people I think are really missing here. So I'm glad to do Fantasy Football Wednesday. Any and all questions, any and all questions. I'll try to read every comment, but any and all questions are here. Very excited because my goal this football season is to help you win your fantasy football league. I'm going to do everything I can to help you win this year. So one of the things that I'm going over the quarterback rankings here on ESPN, and there is a really big width. Because what they do is they have the quarterbacks listed 1 through 25, and there is a player that I think if you have him on your league, I think that you have to start him, and that's Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton did not even make this list. So Jordan Love is 17. Jordan Love may not even play. Sam Darnold's questionable. He's 14. Brock Purdy's questionable. He's 10. You're starting for the first time at home against a team you quarterback for 10 years. Now, I don't believe in revenge games. I want to be very clear about this. I don't believe in revenge games. I think that's more for fans. I think fans get kind of amped up about that. But I'm just going to level with you. I think this could be a situation where Andy Dalton gets a little amped up. I mean, you're going against the team that you played. Oh God. I mean, what was it? 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, something like that. And you're going after them for the first time in, I honestly don't know. I should, but I don't. I was almost late because I'm looking at this list and I'm like, Andy Dalton has to be on this list as a top 25 week 4 quarterback to start in fantasy football. He is not. If you have the ability to get Andy Dalton, even if you play him just for this week, do it. Joe Burrow, by the way, is 7. Joe Burrow is 7. That's a high number. So if you have the ability to get Andy Dalton, I cannot emphasize this enough. If you have the ability to get Andy Dalton, I think Andy Dalton is a must start this week for fantasy football. Absolutely. Look, you're at home. The Bengals defense did not look good, plus they're coming off of a short week. Are you really – let me ask you this here. I mean, do you really think Deshaun Watson, who is 25, is going to have a better game than Andy Dalton? Derek Carr. Jared Goff at 23 is a little surprising. I would put him a little higher. Trevor Lawrence is 20. So – I'm telling you this right now. I've been going over this list, and I'm telling you right now, if you have the ability to get Andy Dalton, get Andy Dalton. Mike McFarland, what's up, brother? He says, what's up, Dan? I'm really concerned about Tyreek Hill. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to start him with no quarterback and start a chain, Jennings, Singletary, or Jameson Williams. What would you do? Okay, I'm going to level with you. Full disclosure. Let me double check here. I'm not even sure who the Dolphins are starting at their quarterback position. I believe I believe they're going to try and start Skylar Thompson again against Tennessee. That's the way I understand it. They're going to try to start Skylar Thompson. Tennessee, even though I think they're a terrible team, the defense is surprisingly good. Singletary is interesting. I mean, you have him on Thursday night against Dallas. Dallas, for whatever reason, for the first couple of weeks of the season, have really struggled to stop the run. So I'm leaning towards starting Singletary. By the way, I looked at the weather report. It's supposed to rain. In the NFL, rain really isn't that much of a factor. But I could see a situation where I think Singletary is a must start. I really do. Out of these guys, out of these four, and I'm guessing because you're saying Archain, Jennings, Singletary, or Williams, you're looking for a flex. I could see how you would go Achane. I could. I haven't had an opportunity. Matter of fact, why don't I do it right now? Raheem Mostert is questionable. Okay. Out of these four, Achane, Jennings, Singletary, or Williams, I'm leaning towards Singletary as a flex. If these are your four options, keep an eye out on Mostert. He's still questionable. Keep in mind, if you want to start Singletary, you have to do him tomorrow. They play Thursday night. I really like Singletary against the Dallas defense that's playing bad, even though I'm a massive I can't believe 8 minutes into the show and I forgot his name. Here I am talking about what I'm a big fan of his, and I just drew a blank on his name. It's so embarrassing. The Cowboys defensive coordinator. I'm just brain freeze, and I'm a huge fan of him. Mike Zimmer. I'm sorry. I'm a huge Mike Zimmer fan, but that Dallas defense is not good. So, I mean, I've Achane, Jennings, Singletary, or Williams. By the way, okay, Williams, I believe, had 2 touches last week. They're phasing him out of the offense for whatever reason. Juwan Jennings, I firmly believe it's a flash in the pan. That said, I mean, you have a mash unit in San Francisco. I mean, by the way, Purdy's questionable. Debo's not going to play. Kittle's questionable. I would not want to play Jennings, and the reason why is that the New England defense is. I know they didn't do well against the Jets, but as a general whole, I mean, you got a defense that got really beat up on Thursday night. They got an extra couple days, and there's a lot of talent. One of the games that I'm really high on as far as putting some action, I probably won't, but I like New England to cover because I saw it was like a 10-point line. I do have some worries though, because I could easily see New England, having a turnover or two and resulting into points. So I'm probably not going to do that. I'm on the Dolphins. I'm on ESPN, which isn't the best source. If Mostert's status jumps up from questionable to probable tomorrow, you have to start Singletary. I'm leaning towards Singletary anyway. I really think that if I'm the Giants, I think Singletary could easily have 20 to 25 touches. With Achane, another thing is that Tennessee, despite a lot of their flaws, does have a good defense. As far as Tyreek Hill, okay, so you have Tyreek Hill in your flex, but you have Rashee Rice and Devontae Smith or Jennings in wide receiver 1 or 2. Okay. I'm going to tell you what I would do. You got to start Rashee Rice. That's a no-brainer. I think you have to start Tyreek Hill. I think you have to start Tyreek Hill. And I know I just got done talking about Tennessee's defense. Raheem Mostert is questionable. I get that. Look, the thing is with Tyreek Hill is that at any point in time, this guy can score. Any point in time. I think you have to go with Tyreek Hill and just say, look, I know that the quarterback situation's bad. I know the Dolphins situation is bad. I think you have to start Tyreek Hill. There's just too much. There's too much talent. And I mean, you have the well. Remember, did you watch the NFL Top 100? Tyreek Hill was one. Tyreek Hill was one. Start Tyreek Hill. Start Tyreek Hill at wide receiver number 2 with Rashee Rice. This is what I would do. You have to figure out if you want to go with A-Chain or Singletary here. I would pass on Jennings and Jameson Williams 2 touches. I think I keep in mind if Laporta is out, and I do think he's going to play. Williams' touches may go up. Juwan Jennings, I do think it's a flash in the pan, and I don't think it's a good matchup against New England. So that's what I would do here. You got to think between A-Chain and Singletary in your flex. Start Tyreek Hill. Start Tyreek Hill. They may use him at running back. They may. I mean, I know that there's talk about switching. McDaniel's not going to do the offensive play calls anymore. I think that Miami going to this game against Tennessee. I'm not sure how old you are, but there was a player named Randy Moss. Hopefully you know who I'm talking about. Years ago, they used to call it the Randy ratio, where they said that we were going to force feed him the ball. I think that you're going to have something similar with Tyreek Hill, whether it's in the running game, screen passes, end arounds. I think that Miami's going to go out of their way to make sure Tyreek Hill gets 10 touches on Monday night at home. I'm start Tyreek Hill. I cannot emphasize this enough. If he has a bad game, come back on here and say, Dan, you suck. You and your fantastic hair ruined my fantasy league. Start Tyreek Hill. I understand the concern. Start Tyreek Hill. You got Rashee Rice. That's a 1. He should have a good game against the Chargers. Should. And then with your flex between A-Chain and Singletary, I'm leaning towards Singletary. I wouldn't blame you if you went with A-Chain. I would go with Singletary. I kind of like that matchup on a short week, trying to protect Daniel Jones. Singletary, I know he's had a couple fumbles. I think Dallas will toughen up their defense, but I kind of like Singletary to get about 20 touches on Thursday night. I kind of like that. Slasher, what's up, brother? Man, I don't want to jump the gun too fast, Dan, and sound like a homer, but Jalen Carter really looks like he could be the next Aaron Donald. So, I mean, remember a couple weeks ago, was it 2 weeks ago, he got benched because he showed up late to a meeting. Aaron Donald would never do that. Never do that. And physically, Jalen Carter has all the tools. It's always been here. Remember that, what was it, the speeding or DUI or that questionable thing that probably cost him a few picks in the draft. I mean, it didn't hurt you that bad because, I mean, Philly grabbed him, 10? 9? Was it 9 or 10? It's all up here. Jalen Carter has all the tools to be the next Aaron Donald. Does he want it? Aaron Donald didn't show up late to meetings. I can tell you that right now. Aaron Donald was the first guy in the building. Is Jalen Carter going to change his mindset and be that dude? I mean, Aaron Donald was a leader in every sense of the word. Jalen Carter's never been that guy. Wasn't that dude at Georgia. Has not been that guy in Philly, but all the talent in the world. And I like what Philly does by bringing in Georgia Bulldogs like Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith. There's a guy in the secondary I'm drawing a blank on. It wouldn't. By the way, if I'm Philly, I draft another Georgia Bulldog. I mean, why not? It's up here, man. It's all mental. Can somebody get in Jalen Carter's head and say, listen, you have a chance? There's only a handful of guys in the NFL that have been in the NFL for less than 3 years. There's only a handful of guys. I'd have to really search. There's only a handful of guys that have been in the NFL for less than 3 years that you could look at and say, you can be in Canton. Jalen Carter is one of those guys. He is that good. He is that physically gifted. You probably don't remember this guy's name, but he played for the Raiders and he went to the Chiefs, and it really just sunk the Chiefs team. And I heard a couple of people say that I heard this from a Raiders fan. His name was Chester McLaughlin. Now, Chester McLaughlin had all the tools in the world. He'd have these flashes where, because he could do things normal humans couldn't. Like this dude was 330, but he could dunk. He moved like a fullback. Just didn't have that motor. I mean, he was just big, strong, fast. Just didn't really like the play. I mean, he was one of these dudes. I remember a Raiders fan because he left for the Raiders. Marty Schottenheimer was like, we need this guy. And Marty thought he could get that motor running. He couldn't. He just couldn't. And I remember a Raiders fan going, yeah, we laughed because, like, you know, we knew the guy was a cancer. Is Jalen Carter a cancer, or can he turn it up? Because there's not too many people in the NFL with those type of physical gifts. But what made Aaron Donald special was that he was the first guy in the building every single day. He was the first guy on the practice field. He kept care of his body. You know, he was the guy that, you know, when you have a young player, you say, hey, look, that's Aaron Donald. Can you outwork him? And the answer was always no. I'm pretty sure there's about 40 to 50 guys in that Eagles locker room that are outworking Jalen Carter. But could he be the next Aaron Donald? He has all the physical tools. You're not sounding like a homer, by the way. You're not sounding like a homer. He's got to ramp it up, but he has a chance to be 10 to 15 years from now. We should be talking about Jalen Carter being one of the best football players who ever lived. Especially like the Eagles. You remember Jerome Brown? Again, I don't know how old you are, but remember Jerome Brown, like, you know, rest in peace, you know, Reggie White. I mean, that Jalen Carter should be in that conversation. I'm willing to bet you've never heard of Chester McLaughlin. Physically speaking, Chester McLaughlin was probably more physically talented than Jalen Carter. And I know that sounds crazy, but watch Chester McLaughlin clips at Clemson or with the Raiders, or he had a few clips in Kansas City. It was like, oh my God. Didn't love football. Bad attitude. The definition of locker room cancer. McLaughlin was. I don't know about Jalen Carter. I'm so glad to see you, man. So glad to see you. I have Tyreek in my flex right now, but I might swap. I have Rashee Rice. Okay, good. I hit that. So you have Tyreek Hill in your flex, and you have Rashee Rice as one, and you're trying to think of Smith or Jennings. I'm going to tell you what I would do is I would have, again, I'm going to emphasize this. I think Tyreek Hill's a must start. I mean, you got him, put him in there, keep him in there. Okay. You have Aaron Jones and James Cook as your running back running two. Okay, I get it. Yeah, you got to start those two guys. You absolutely have to start those two guys. I'm telling you this right now, start Rashee Rice and Tyreek Hill. And then I really would. I mean, you got a tough one with your flex, A-Chain or Singletary. I would go with Singletary. I really would. I like the matchup. I really like the Singletary matchup against Dallas. Now, I would not blame you if you said, hey, because I know when I play fantasy football, I love having guys on Monday night. And one thing that A-Chain has that Singletary doesn't is A-Chain can score from anywhere on the field. Singletary, if he scores, it's got to be inside the 5. He's not getting those 50, 60 yard touchdowns that A-Chain can. So, I mean, that's another consideration. But like I said, I firmly believe Singletary will get 20 touches, maybe more, against the Cowboys. If Mozart gets to start, I could see Miami leaning on Mozart, who could have fresh legs. So, but the one thing I do want to tell you is that do start Tyreek Hill, because I firmly believe that Miami will force feed Tyreek Hill the ball. So, DK, what's up, brother? I was up by 6 and lost this week to my dad by 0.5 due to the Bengals kicker. Oh my God. So, their ESPN, I forget the name of the show, but they have like a bad beat section. Somebody lost on a parlay because Patrick Mahomes got the under on rushing yards because he went backwards those last couple of steps. That's a tough one. That is a tough one, man. And seriously, kickers, defense, those things matter. That's a tough one, man. That is a tough one. It's brutal because I didn't check the weather report, but if you did, you more than likely saw the weather was good. So that's brutal. Rams house 99 dynasty full PPR SF start 11, 12 teams, 6 points, passing TDs. Team has been bad so far, but a lot of young talent. Should I trade Kyler, Caleb, and Rome for Mahomes, Puka, and either Stafford or Rodgers? Okay. God. Okay. Number one. I like Kyler Murray, and I also like him this week a lot. I like Kyler Murray a lot. So I'm looking at Washington. What did Washington do against Joe Burrow? Burrow had, 328 and 3 touchdowns. I may have the numbers wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was over 303. Washington, that's a bad. If I was going through, like who's somebody I really want to start this week, and I'm like, God, Kyler Murray could have a monster game. Caleb Williams, fantasy-wise, had a good week last week. I keep waiting for the Bears to say, hey, let's rely on the running game. Let's look, we got DeAndre Swift. Let's use him. And I'm waiting for that to happen. I thought it happened last week against the worst rushing defense in the NFL, but whatever reason, they threw the ball 58 times. So Um, Rome Oduzze had 100 yards and a touchdown last week, if I remember correctly. I love me some Rome Oduzze. So I have a hard time, saying give those guys up. But your team's been bad, so I understand you want to make a move. Look, I'm a Chiefs fan. Sooner or later, Mahomes is going to start putting up points. For a lot of people, I just think Puka's just going to magically turn it on. Are you sure? Are you sure? I like Stafford, and Rodgers played really well last week, but I'm gonna level with you. As much as I love Mahomes, Stafford, and Rodgers, especially, I think Stafford in a couple weeks could be a guy that you want to hold on to. But I wouldn't make this move despite of all those things. Keenan Allen's banged up, so they're using Rome Oduzze more. Kyler Murray, I think, is a must start this week against Washington. I'm having a brain freeze here. I think the game's in Arizona. Yeah, it's a home game. Okay. You have a really bad defense in Washington, coming off of an emotional win on Monday Night Football. Do you really want to give up Kyler Murray before that game? Do you? If Rams House 99, if you I would consider giving up Caleb for Stafford. Can you do that? Can you do that? Can you do as much as I love Rome Oduzze, when Keenan Allen comes back, his number's going to drop. Can you do Caleb and Rome for Puka and Stafford? If you really want to get rid of Kyler Murray, I get it. Don't do it this week. You're at home against a team that had an emotional victory on Monday night, and they have a bad defense. I'm telling you right now, the guy who suggested this trade, unless you suggested it, but more than likely, I could see somebody looking at that and going, "Hey, who do I want to start this week? Kyler Murray." Well, this guy, as I'm using your words, team has been bad so far. Looking at you and going, "Hey, this guy might be desperate and give up." I'm telling you right now, Kyler Murray could have one of these ridiculous. By the way, what Joe Burrow do? 303 touchdowns. Is Burrow known for his running ability? The Bengals offensive line, remember Trent Brown went down, so they even have offensive line issues. I know the Cardinals have offensive line issues. I understand that, but I'm looking at Washington is not a good defensive team. If you want to do this trade, the only thing if you want to do this trade, I get it, I understand. I would not do it. I would not do it unless you can do Caleb in Rome, and you can get Puka and Stafford. I know Puka, by the way, I'm not really sure when he's coming back, but in a couple weeks, when that offensive line. So Stafford has, I think it's a week 6 bye. I was talking about this yesterday. They have a week 6 bye. You're a Rams fan, After that bye, Stafford's going to be a top 10 fantasy dude. Kyler, could of course get hurt, but if you make this trade, do it after this week. Start Kyler Murray this week, please. Rams out. Thanks for the question, man. This is a good one. This is a good one. You want to start Kyler Murray this week. I I'm going to butcher the name. Soyeon, how's it going? I am doing fantastic. I'm doing my favorite thing in the world, trying to help people. I'm trying to get help. I'm trying to help everybody win their fantasy football league. I am super jacked up. So I'm starting Aaron Jones. Oh, yeah, I got this one. Ooh, God, that's a tough one. This week, I might go Hubbard. Keep in mind, they have Miles Sanders, who they gave a lot of money to, and Hubbard's been playing better. Jonathan Brooks, when he comes off the PUP list, which he's not this week, could eat into those touches. I didn't know you had Hubbard. Seriously, Hubbard or Singletary, that's a tough one. That is a tough one because, so full disclosure, I have a picks video. Okay. Please check it out. It's great, but spoiler alert, I like Carolina to win this week over Cincinnati. If that prediction comes true, Dalton and Hubbard have to have good games. Hubbard not so much. Andy Dalton has to have a good game. But more than likely, Hubbard will get more touches than Sanders, even though they gave a lot of money to Miles Sanders. I mean, they gave a lot of money to Miles Sanders, and it's like a 3-year, $39 million. Matter of fact, I think it's the same amount of money. Maybe a little less than what Philly gave Saquon Barkley. They gave him a lot of money, and it's been a disaster. But Hubbard over Singletary, I wouldn't blame you at all because I like the way he's playing, and also like that matchup. The one issue I have with the Singletary, and I love Singletary as a player. I remember coming out of FAU, I think he ran like a 4.7 or like a 4.68, something like that. He plays like that type of dude. But people look at him and they assume that he's a smaller running back because he's like 5'9", 5'10". No, he's not. He's like 220. It's just he's short. He's not small. There's a big difference. There's a huge difference. That's why I kind of like him against Dallas, which has struggled against the run. I think Singletary will get a touchdown. I know the weather report shows it's going to rain. In the NFL, rain really isn't a factor. But I could see a situation where the Giants may say, you know what, let's lean on the running game this in a short week and try to protect Daniel Jones. You also could say, hey, Singletary has a couple fumbles and it's raining. Maybe they want to, but that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I might go Hubbard. Hubbard. I mean, the one thing I want to talk about with Carolina against the Bengals is the Raiders' defense at home is probably better than the Bengals' defense on the road after a short week. It's a tough one. That is a tough one. You may want to go with Hubbard, but I will say this. I could almost guarantee you Singletary is going to get about 20 touches, and I think he'll score on Thursday night. But I also love having a guy play on Monday. So I'm throwing out a bunch of different things here, but Hubbard would not be a bad start over Singletary. Hey, man, I have a banged-up lineup. My options are Lockett, Mooney, Wayndale, and George Pickens. Thoughts on my receiver group. Pickens. You want to start Pickens this week. You have a Colts team that defensively are really challenged, and Justin Fields is getting better and better. So you have to understand something. Going into training camp, Russell Wilson got almost all the first-team reps. And then when he got injured, Fields took over and kept on looking better and better. Now he's getting all the first team reps, so he's getting better, and better. One thing about George Pickens that's different than George Pickens is the undisputed number one receiver. Wendell Robinson, I talked about this. You have some bad weather conditions in New York. Neighbors is clearly the number one. One thing, by the way, I think Mooney should get more touches in Atlanta. I was just beyond. If I'm a Falcons fan, I would be pulling my hair out. I would be doing this because that offense, there's no reason that offense should be that bad. You have Kyle Pitts, which they don't want to use. I don't get it. Drake London should be the number one guy. I don't think they use him enough. But let's be clear, though. I mean, you have John Robinson. Mooney gets lost in the shuffle. They need to figure a way to use Mooney. I have no confidence in anything Atlanta's doing offensively. For years, I've said Tyler Lockett is better than DK Metcalf. But you have Jackson Smith and Jigba coming up, and both those guys are younger. Also, it's a tough matchup on Monday night, but I understand because I like playing guys on Monday night personally. It's a little more fun. And players, it's funny because I say this all the time. I say I don't really believe in revenge games, but players get up for Monday night. That's a fact. It is. I mean, players get a little more amped up on Monday night. Pickens, you really need to start him. I have to look here. If I'm correct, he might not even have a touchdown this year, but as long as Justin Fields is the quarterback, he's going to get better, and better. I also really like the matchup against Colts. So start Pickens. Mooney's a guy that out of those guys, I really think will get more involved. I'm not a Wendell Robinson fan, and Tyler Lockett, unfortunately, is kind of getting phased out of that offense. So, I honestly, I really got to think that you might be able to find somebody. It depends on your league and everything, but I really got to think that you can get a better option than Wendell Robinson. There's got to be somebody on the waiver wire that you can pick up that can do something more. Now, keep in mind, I mean, he's kind of a receiver, runner type of guy. He'll have a game where, he'll get that 100 total yards and a touchdown or two, and everyone would be high on him. But I'm not really a fan, so. Just Dre, what's up, brother? Thanks for the help yesterday, man. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. That means the world to me. I did something juicy. Instead of picking Stafford or Dalton, I picked up Daniel Jones. Okay. I like the rushing upside and hope he can keep the chemistry with Neighbors. Okay. I recommended, because you had the waiver wire of Stafford and Dalton. Yeah, I do like the rushing upside because you may be able to get some yards. I warned. I've been saying this earlier because I checked out the weather report for Thursday night. It is going to rain. There's going to be some showers. I think it's like 60 or 70%. Hey, look, weather's weather. I mean, it could be 60, 70%, and you may get clear skies. The Cowboys defense is not playing well. So you may have one of those games where, he force feeds Neighbors plays well. He gets a rushing touchdown. I will say this, like Andy Dalton at home against the Bengals, I really, really like. But I kind of like the move of what you're thinking, though. You do have some rushing upside. And here's another thing about Daniel Jones. Like he's kind of got to go all in. I mean, if I'm Daniel Jones, I leave everything out on the field, because if they don't win this year, the Giants are going to probably replace him and the head coach and clean house. And nobody's going to look at Daniel Jones and say, hey, this is a starting quarterback, unless he just balls out. Like, if I'm Daniel Jones, like, I'm doing everything I possibly can I'm throwing everything up for grabs for Neighbors. I think Neighbors had something like 18 targets or something ridiculous. I think it's fun. I really do. I really think it's fun, but I'm going to level with you. I think Dalton may have a massive game, and you may regret it. But I am, however, excited about Thursday night football, and the Cowboys defense is not playing well. You're on a short week. By the way, Daniel Jones can run. One thing about Daniel Jones is that he's an underrated athletic dude. And it's funny because Dable, so Brian Dable got the head coaching job because he was the offensive coordinator in Buffalo. And a lot of people forget this. Josh Allen's first 2 years in the NFL, he was a below average quarterback. He wasn't good. They traded for Diggs. They kept building around him, and things turned up. There's a lot of similarities between Daniel Jones and Josh Allen, and there's a lot of people who are probably going to tune me out right now. I'm like, Dan, you're nuts. No, there really is. I mean, they're both really big dudes. A lot of people don't realize Daniel Jones is like 6'5", 230, and can run. There's a lot of athletic upside with Daniel Jones. Except he had that one great playoff game against Minnesota 2 years ago, and that's it. But there is some upside, and you are correct. You do got some rushing upside. I'm letting you know right now. I think Andy Dalton is a guy that's going to have a big game at home against a team he quarterbacked for 10 years. So, but if you start Daniel Jones, I will 100% be pulling for you. Not only that, a buddy of mine I work with is a big Cowboys fan. I would love nothing more because he's been sending me stuff like Patrick Mahomes and the refs making out and stuff like that. So I would love nothing more than to see the Giants beat the Cowboys. Full disclosure, I have the Cowboys winning, but I would love nothing more. Yeah, Aaron Donald was Rookie of the Year and All-Pro. By the way, that's one of my favorite dudes, Slasher, and he should be excited. But Jalen Carter needs to get more of a work ethic. Somebody needs to break off something in his rear side. You know what I'm saying? Shane F. Great question here. Should I trade Garrett Wilson and Shakir for Nico Collins? I have Stroud. Ooh, boy, that's a fun one. That's a fun one, and it's hard because Shakir is quietly becoming the number one target in Buffalo. But one of the things I love about Josh Allen is he's distributing the ball. Remember, they drafted Keon Coleman, and there were so many Bills fans trying to like hype up Keon Coleman as the number one guy. I'm like, dude, calm down. He looks great in shorts, and he did. He looked fantastic in shorts. I saw these clips of him in shorts, and yeah, he looks great in shorts. Yeah, but Shakir's getting that number one option. Aaron Rodgers really loves Garrett Wilson, but I really like what the Jets are doing. Utilizing Braylon Allen, one of my draft crushes, and utilizing Breece Hall. I want to tell you yes. I really want to tell you yes. It's just that I could see Garrett Wilson going for 1,000 and like 8 to 10 touchdowns, and I could see Shakir. He may crack 1,000. I don't think so, but I think Shakir could have 700 to 900 yards and about anywhere from 5 to 8 touchdowns. Keep in mind, neither one of those numbers are better than Collins, but you have two legitimate, like Garrett Wilson's a legitimate 2 or a flex option. Shakir somebody. That would be a nice option number 3 if you get somebody hurt. I want to say yes, but I want to be very clear. If you make a move like this, I really hope that you're not. I mean, anytime you do the 2-for-1, I always question: do you have some depth? Are you loaded at the receiver position, Shane F? If you're loaded at the receiver position, absolutely make this move. If you're struggling on depth, obviously you wouldn't want to do a 2-for-1 move. I kind of like this move because Collins is going to put more numbers up than either one of these guys. All right. The thing is, though, you're giving up two guys that are, Garrett Wilson's going to be the number one guy with the Jets. And Shakir's looks like he's getting a lot of confidence from Josh Allen being the number one guy. But Josh Allen's also distributing the ball all over the field. So, God, I really feel like I need to give you a yes or no answer. I'm leaning towards Collins, but I need just a little more information. I'm sorry, I'm already behind on comments, but give me a little more information. But off the top of my head, I would say yes. And that Collins Stroud combination is a lot of fun. JC, what's up? If the Browns lose next week, do you think they should be talking about getting a new head coach? No. No, I don't think they should, but I know the Browns organization is one of the worst run organizations in football. They probably will be. And also they got Mike Vrabel, who's been doing some assistant work. That would be a guy that you could put in there. Do I think they should? No, because Myles Garrett's banged up. The offensive line's terrible. Nick Chubb is out. I don't think they should. By the way, if they do lose, though, I can promise you internally they'll be thinking about getting somebody new. That's what. Look, the Browns have no problems just running through coaches. So, Gooch. I would like to do the longer intro, but I've noticed I'm behind on comments. I'm so glad to see you, brother. T Money, 10-man PPR, Burrow, Jacobs, Connor, CD, Chase, Kincaid, DK, J Mo, Ford, Mooney, Watson. Some really, really, really good names there. Worthy Brooks on IR. Should I trade Connor and J Mo for GJ Moore and R White? Yeah, I'm so embarrassed about this, but you put in R White, and I instantly went to Roddy White, but you mean Rashid White. Okay. Yes. This to me is a no-brainer. They're phasing out J-Mo. He had 2 touches. DJ Moore's the number one dude. Keep in mind, I've been adamant that they should run the ball more, but DJ Moore is a dude. Now, keep in mind, I mean, you got CD Lamb. I mean, that's your number one, and you also got some good players here. I firmly believe that here's what I like. You're getting DJ Moore as a win over JMO. I know in Tampa they've been using Bucky Irving a little more. He's a 4th round pick. I like Bucky Irving, and I like the fact you have this 1-2 thing. Rashad White's going to get more and more of the touches and carries. The thing is with Connor is they got Trey Benson, the 3rd round pick out of Florida State. They're going to get him more involved. By the way, Jonathan Brooks in a couple weeks may be a must follow. I like this trade a lot, and I really like this because in this league here you're going to go with I was going to say C. So you have 2 number ones. I mean, you got CD and Chase. You got to start both those guys. Now you have DJ Moore plug and play when you have a bye for either one of those guys. Off the top of my head, I don't know when the Bengals and Cowboys have bye weeks. Absolutely make this move because you're getting a much bigger improvement, DJ Moore over JMO. And I think Connor could easily have a good game every now and then as the season goes on. I mean, you're in a PPR league. I'm not saying Connor can't catch. Rashid White is going to get you more production. So I mean, this is you're winning on both fronts. Make this trade. Sorry, I should have explained it better. Not trying to say he'll be the same as Aaron Donald. Better than Donald be the same type. Yeah. I get it. I know where you're coming from. So, Perry. So who is your team? By the way, I love them too. So, sorry I'm behind on comments. So, I'm going to try to rapid fire through these here. I'm going to make sure I get everybody. Dynasty trade. Ooh, Dynasty League. Okay, 8-team start 9. Would I trade Ridley, Hawkinson in a late second for Laporta in the mid for a tight end premium? No. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I wouldn't want to do this is as this draft is a defensive laden draft coming up in 2025, but there's going to be a few offensive players that you may really want to grab. And that's just a draft. There's going to be a few quarterbacks. Late second, the guy that you would want to grab as a rookie that you may Austin Gentry, who's averaging over 10 yards a carry at Boise State. But I would not do this. And I'll tell you why. Once Hawkinson comes back, I think you're going to see the Hawkinson and Laporta production be about a push. I'm not sold on Ridley. I want to be very clear. Because of Will Levis, I think sooner or later they're going to get rid of Levis. And this is Hopkins last year in Tennessee. Okay. Ridley becomes a number one. And you're getting a push on Hawkinson and Laporta. And I mean, this is so much fun. But that late second, you're going to have some good options. More than likely, Austin Gentry is going to be kind of a late first-round draft pick. He might be that guy that you get, and he just explodes into the NFL. But that giving up a late second-round pick for a mid-fourth, I like the fact that you have a tight end premium league. That is really, really, really cool. When Hawkinson comes back, his production and Laporta's production are going to be about the same. Okay. Next year, Ridley becomes the number one. And if let's just say Callahan stays, Ridley's going to be a good option. If they clean house in Tennessee, which is I do think they could do, you have some question marks, but going into the 2025 season, Ridley's still number one because Hopkins isn't going to be there. So I wouldn't make this move. Great question, man. God, that's a good one, man. Is now a good time to sell high on Chuba after his big game and Brooks coming back soon? I think so. I think so, Jacob. I would do that. And the reason why is Brooks will be number one guy. Keep in mind, they gave a lot of money to Miles Sanders. A lot of money to Miles Sanders. Why he's not playing more. I do think Chuba could have a big week this week against the Bengals. I do think that. But I believe Brooks is going to come back week 5. I'm keeping an eye out on this because once Brooks comes back, that dude could be a monster. That could be a monster. The key here is sell high. Get a lot for him. Get a lot. Perry, I'm always good to see you in the chat, man. JC, K-Med are likely this week and ROS. I'm so bad. I'm drawing a complete ROS drawing a complete blank. K-Met or likely. I'll be honest with you. I like them both. I shouldn't because I've been adamant that I really think that Chicago should run the ball more. They don't want to do that for whatever reason. And K-Met's a guy I just absolutely loved coming out of Notre Dame. The only thing really kept him out of the first round was that he was a reliever. He is on the Notre Dame baseball team. He was a reliever, and some people thought that he could play baseball, but he decided to play football, and he's just been getting better and better. But long story short here, I shouldn't like K-Met, but I do because they're pass happy in Chicago for whatever reason. Isaiah Likely, I know the Bills defense has been playing lights out. And after that, week 1 blow up, Likely, kind of come down to earth. But I kind of like Likely this week. I really think Likely is going to put up some, it's good. Well, I'm not going to say massive. I think he's got a good game. ROS, I'm just drawing a complete blank on. ROS, I'm sorry. I'm just drawing a complete blank. Out of these two, that's a real tough one, man. I know a lot of people would probably go K-Met. Let's see here. I have the schedule pulled up here. You have kind of a mash unit with the Rams right now. The Bills defense is one of the best in football. It's Sunday night. And that's a real tough one. I hate to say this, but out of those two, I'm drawing a blank on ROS, but I'm leaning towards Likely, even though the matchup favors K-Met, a team that wants to throw the ball against a beat up defense that, K-Met should have some opportunities. Likely is going against a much better defense in Buffalo. I just got a weird feeling that that's a game. Look what he did last time. What did Likely do last time he was on a primetime game against a premium team? What was it, 118 and a touchdown? So I'm leaning Likely. I wouldn't blame you if you said, hey, listen, Dan, I'm going to go with K-Met. I'll go with the matchup. Matchup favors K-Met. I would go with Likely because I could see Buffalo saying, you know what, we saw what you did with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, so we're gonna have you beat us by throwing the ball. And if that's the case, Likely could have a huge game, and that's kind of how I see that game going. So out of those, the matchup, I know K-Met's better. I'm leaning towards Likely. Vision Facts. All right. Hello, Dan. I got CJ. I got Breeze. I got CJ. I got Breeze. I got Gibbs, Neighbors, Olave. Nice team. Really nice team. Ingram, Keenan Allen, Dell, B. Allen. Any suggestions of what I should do with Tyreek? I'm 1 and 2. Let's be honest here. I would start Neighbors. I'm a big Chris Olave fan. I really am. I still think you have to start Tyreek Hill. And the fun thing is about Neighbors and Tyreek is you get a Thursday night and a Monday night. I know it's goofy. But I really like that. I really like that. Your question is Tyreek Hill. I think he's a must start. I firmly believe that I really firmly believe that Miami is going to force him into the lineup. I'm going to take a quick commercial break. I'm sorry I'm a little behind. I'm going to take a very fast commercial break, but I'll be back and I will answer all your comments here on Fantasy Football Wednesday. I'll be right back. As I take a quick commercial break to fix my hair, just a reminder, my award-winning NFL Weekly Picks video is out. If you haven't watched it already, make sure you do it. Not now. This is only a commercial. We still have more afternoon delight to give you, but do check out my NFL Weekly Picks video. It's awesome! Dan Talks Football is a proud affiliate of BetUS. You can get up to 125% bonus as featured, or do what I did and take a 20% bonus up to $2,500. I made a video where I show you my first $100 deposit, and thanks to the extra 20%, it turned into $120 instantly. This promotion isn't just for 1 or 2, but your first 3 deposits. Click on the link in the description and start winning today. Keaton from Keaton Talk Sports joins Afternoon Delight every Monday. He has a great YouTube channel, and his channel is listed in the description below. We do have a problem though. We want to create a friendly wager on who picks more winners in our weekly picks videos. Can you help us out? What should Keaton do when I pick more winners than he does? Drop a comment here or in the weekly picks videos. Now, back for some more Afternoon Delight. Yes! All right, hour 1 is in the books. Hour 2 here, and I'm gonna rapid fire some of these here. I'm gonna make sure that I answer all your questions. If there's anything I missed or I skipped over, drop a comment below, or you can DM me on either Twitter, Instagram, or you can go old school. You can shoot me an email, dantalksfootball@yahoo.com. If you shoot me an email, I will get back to you. It'll be Thursday morning, Wednesday night. But I will get back to you before Thursday Night Football. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. The crazy thing is I'm a Cowboys fan, but I'm slowly pulling away from it. Yeah, it's funny because I was talking to this guy who's a Cowboys fan, and he says, Dan, is so frustrating being a Cowboys fan. Being a Cowboys fan is the most frustrating thing of all time. And I said, I could think of lots of teams that won a Super Bowl. He goes, Dan, I'm 30. I've never seen any of these Super Bowl teams. And I'm like, I'm older than 30. So I'm like, if you're a Cowboys fan and you weren't around watching those Super Bowl teams, yeah, because one thing about Dallas is there's always hype about them every single year, but they haven't won a Super Bowl in what 29 years. So if you're in your 30s, you may remember as a little kid that final Super Bowl, but yeah, man, if you're a Cowboys fan and you're under 30, oh God, it's torture, because every single year there's Super Bowl hype, not just from the Dallas media, but the national media, and they disappoint. So I get it. If Dalton is still there, pick him up though. Absolutely. Absolutely. I just picked up Pratt from the Bengals. I'm playing in a money league, so I feel like I'm the only one trying hard. By the way, Pratt, I don't know what he did against Washington, but he had 17 tackles against the Chiefs. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you're in a defensive league, you don't want linebackers from a good defense. You want linebackers from a bad defense, like the Bengals. I was looking through, like 3 of the top 5 tacklers in the NFL are from the Colts. I was talking to somebody else who has who's in a defensive league. It was somebody in the chat brought up that he had a couple of Colts guys. Yeah, getting Colts players. Pratt, I know he had 17 tackles against my Chiefs. He was everywhere. I mean, absolutely everywhere. I don't know the numbers for Jermaine Pratt. Logan Wilson's one of my all-time favorite players. I know he had a good game against Kansas City as well, 13 tackles. Picking up Pratt, genius. Genius. Please keep. By the way, I love fantasy football defensive leagues. Jermaine Pratt, great pickup. Underrated player, but look, the Bengals are 0-3. Their defense is bad. If you're in a league that prioritizes defense, yeah, Pratt, great pick. Is Warren droppable in a 12-man? Oh God. So he's being kind of phased out a little bit. They're leaning on Najee Harris. I want to tell you to wait because I know Najee Harris has an arm injury. One thing I've always said is that when you have a bigger running back like Najee Harris or Ramondre Stevenson, you have issues with health. I mean, you know, when you're 240 and you're running the ball consistently up the middle, it's hard to sit here and say that. I also am seeing the offense kind of go away from Warren. That said, Najee Harris, I fully expect to be a full go Sunday, but I would hold off one more week. Just hold off this week, see what he does against the Colts, and if it's, I don't have the numbers for Warren. Let's take a look. But I'm going to let you know right now, I really want to hold off because if Najee Harris is banged up, and because one thing I absolutely love about the Steelers is that for years they had this just terrible offensive line. Now their offensive line is good. Okay. Oh God. Ugh. Against the Chargers, 3 carries, 5 yards. Ugh. God, that's terrible. 1 reception, 4 yards. Ugh. Didn't practice. It was funny because I was sitting here and I knew about Najee Harris. I didn't know about Warren's injury issue. I didn't know about that at all. It's funny because I'm looking at the injury report that Jaylen Warren is questionable. Yeah. It's funny because I knew all about the issue with Najee Harris. He's not even on the injury report. I didn't know about the Warren issue. Go ahead and drop him. I really like the kid. I really like the kid. But yeah. Let's see here. Hold on. You have Jamar Chase. Oh my God. Because if I remember correctly, you had and you also had make this move. Yeah, make this move. And the reason why I say that is if you have Jamar Chase, I mean you have 2 legitimate number ones, and Devontae Smith. You have a guy that's a good starter for your for your bye week. So make that move. Should I pick up Dalton for Kirk Cousins? Yes. Absolutely you should. Keep in mind, I fully expect Atlanta needs to figure this out offensively. You have a good coach in Zach Robinson. You have all sorts of talent. You have a good offensive line. Things aren't working out. Andy Dalton, I think, fits like a hand in a glove. I want to be careful about ranting about this, but make this move. It kind of seems like, look, I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm going to tell you the Chiefs defense is great and everything, but the truth be told is that Atlanta, I mean, except for that final drive in Monday Night Football, they put up 10 against the Steelers, 17 against the Chiefs, 2 really good defenses. I mean, I can see a situation where Kirk Cousins picks it up, but look, Andy Dalton, and I really want to prevent myself from going on a huge rant here. That offense that Dave Canales runs, Geno Smith in Seattle blossomed. Baker Mayfield in Tampa after the first half of the season, and then they switched up the offense. They said, look, we can't run the ball. You have some offensive line issues. We got some good receivers. Let's just get rid of the ball in less than 2.5 seconds and use the receivers that you have. Perfect. Can Andy Dalton do that? Absolutely. And keep in mind that young talent that they have, Jatavion Sanders, that the rookie, the fourth round tight end out of Texas, Tommy Tremble, he's been in the league for a while. He's a guy I liked. He's never going to be that guy who's like 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns, but he's a good tight end. He can block too. Something I like in tight ends. Jatavion Sanders is a tight end in name only. Xavier Legette has all the physical ability in the world. I mean, eventually he's going to be the number one guy. But Deontay Johnson, I've always liked this kid. I just, I don't think he was really a great fit in Pittsburgh. He should have been, but, for whatever reason, he wasn't. That quick rhythm offense where you have him in the slot and you're using like option routes, which is what they're doing in Carolina, hand in glove. Yeah. And have Daniel Jones as your backup? Yeah. You also have, okay. I'm not a fan of McConkey at all. I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's going to be number one guy with it. No, he's not. I'm butchering Loftus. He's taken over as the number two guy with the Bengals. And if the Bengals keep losing T. Rest of the season. Yeah. Oh, okay. Likely or Kmet for the rest of the season. Okay. God, that's a tough one, man. That is a tough one. And I say that because you have multiple tight ends on that Baltimore team. You have a quarterback that is going to run quite a bit. The issue though is that I tell you up and down. I keep saying this over. I can argue both ways, man. I can argue. So here's the deal. And I'm going to make sure. By the way, I like Loftus quite a bit. I like that. So your question earlier about grabbing Collins, absolutely. Let me make sure I get this here. Where was that? This is a yes for Collins, and then Kmet for likely this week and rest of the season. Okay. I'm going to break it down like this. Okay. I'm leaning towards likely. And the only reason why is likely, I think we'll have that game like he did in Kansas City, 100 yards and a touchdown. You're going to see that more often. I think Kmet will put you more consistently. He'll be that consistent 5 to 6 catch guy, because I think sooner or later the Bears offense is going to change, run the ball a little more, try to get Caleb Williams more into a structured type of offense, and that will benefit Kmet. All right. Until that happens, likely now keep in mind with Lamar Jackson back there, he's never going to be that guy who just goes back there and just ding, 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 ding. He's never going to be that guy who just, goes back to pass 50, 60 times a game. Caleb Williams might grow into that. I could also see a situation, by the way, if they benched Caleb Williams at all, which if they wanted to win this year, I would put Tyson Bagent in there immediately. If Tyson Bagent ever becomes a starting quarterback, he'll be throwing to Kmet quite a bit. The Bears look like a disaster. As much as I like Kmet's upside, as much as I like his talent, you have more with likely. Likely, keep in mind, was a college wide receiver, but when you're 6'4", 250, you play tight end in the NFL. If you're needing steady, consistent points from like a tight end number 2, go with Kmet. The thing with likely, you're going to get a few games this year where it's like 1 catch, 7 yards, but you're most likely also going to get some 100-yard games like week 1 in Kansas City. I would go towards likely. It's volatile. And by the way, there's going to be a couple games this year where likely may not even get a catch. I mean, he may get shut out, and you're going to hate me. But you're not getting 100 yards and a touchdown out of K-Met this year. You're just not, because you got DJ Moore, you got Keenan Allen, you got Romo Duze. You're just not going to do that. I mean, you got Zay Flowers in Baltimore, and Andrews is just not recovering. And I love Mark Andrews. But he's not the guy. I would go with likely. Derek, what's up, brother? Now I'm a little behind on the comments, man. Sorry about that. You trust in Cowboys defense versus Giants this week. Somebody dropped Kansas City, so I put a claim for them. Getting the Chiefs defense, I really like this week because you have a banged up Herbert. You have a banged up Herbert. Their receivers are young, but not really developing. They want to try to run the ball. Kansas City's run defense is really, really, really good. Plus, you have some potentially 2 backup tackles and a banged up quarterback. People are going to say, "Yeah, but Dan, it's in L.A." I'm not saying this because I'm a Chiefs fan. Just go back and watch it for yourself. I promise you there will be more Chiefs fans than Chargers fans in that stadium. I promise that. I want to tell you that the Cowboys defense and Mike Zimmer will get things up and going. It's a short week. It's a must win. Bad weather, which usually, potential rain. There's a little bit of wind. Keep in mind, rain, as a general rule of thumb, does not affect an NFL game. If it's a monsoon, which I don't think it is, then you definitely go with the Cowboys. I mean, you may get something great. I'm leaning towards Kansas City. Injuries at tackle and quarterback. To be honest with you, I like Kansas City quite a bit. Full disclosure, I'm a huge Chiefs fan. I do know it's going to rain on Thursday. I fully expect Zimmer to turn that defense around. I don't know if we'll get done this week. I do expect a low-scoring game on Thursday night. I really do. That Chiefs-Chargers matchup, there's so much I like about Kansas City. Backup tackles. Again, one thing that Kansas City does, they like using Chris Jones, that stud defensive tackle. They'll move him at end on obvious third down situations from time to time. So I get why you would want the Cowboys defense. By the way, the Cowboys defense may do something fun. They may get like a defensive score, which I could see, but I fully expect Kansas City's defense to have a really good game, especially against maybe 2 backup tackles. And Herbert, even if he does play, he's not 100%. I'll be honest with you. If I'm the Chargers and Herbert's not good to go, I would put Easton Stick in there, use his mobility, and try to just make this an ugly, low-scoring game against the Chiefs. But keep in mind, Kansas City's offense has kind of been stagnant the last couple of weeks. Kansas City gets out to an early lead, which is very possible. Derwin James isn't playing. Bosa's banged up. Kansas City gets out to an early lead. You may just really hate yourself by not picking up Kansas City. So not giving you a great answer. I'm not giving you like a yes or a no, but I do want to point out that I am a Kansas City Chiefs, big time Chiefs fan, and I like that matchup. I mean, the Cowboys defense has talent. I mean, it's a short week. But I think if you go with the Chiefs defense over the Cowboys, you'll feel good. If the Cowboys get a couple defensive touchdowns, you're going to hate me. So Cowboys always owned the Giants for as long as I can remember. The last time Giants beat them was in 2021. Yeah, I mean, this Thursday night matchup is interesting. You got 2 1-2 teams, and both of them need a win in the worst possible way. The Giants go 1-3, and on a short week, you have to listen to 10 days of Giants fans calling for Daboll's head. The Cowboys go 1-3. Oh God, all hell's gonna break loose. All hell's gonna break loose. I mean, it's going to be a fun game. Short week, bad weather. I think the bad weather benefits the Giants, which I think are going to just try to line up and try to like just run the ball control. You know, I'm looking forward to the game. It's going to be a fun game. I mean, it's going to be an interesting game. So, but both teams need a win. Both teams need a win. It's a fun game. I full disclosure, I like the Cowboys to win. So no, I mean, I like I said, you have a little more variance with likely, but I mean, you have to understand a college receiver in fantasy football is always going to put numbers up. More against a guy that's a tight end. I mean, likely the one thing about him is that he's a tight end in name only. So just a hunch he's going to have a big game. Just a hunch. But that's the whole point of this channel is I want to get other people's opinions. I always tell people like, look, tune into the show because you have some great comments from the chat. And I'll never be that guy who says I'm always right. Everybody has to agree with me. I'm never going to be that guy. Jason Ortiz, would you trade McBride and Quentin Johnson or Sutton for Stevenson Pittman? My backup tight end is Jake Ferguson. My running backs are Mixon, who's been out. I'm keeping an eye out on Mixon. Kamara, who's hurt and lost Pacheco. Ooh, God. Oh God. Okay. When you say Sutton, the first name comes to mind. This isn't. I was Sutton, defensive back for the Steelers. Oh, Cortland Sutton. Okay, sorry. God, God, this is a tough one. So full disclosure, McBride and Johnston are two of my big draft crushes. I loved both of them. McBride has a chance in Arizona to like really put up some massive numbers this year. Quentin Johnson has all the tools to be a wide receiver number one. I didn't like drafting him over oh God, I'm so embarrassed. Lions fans are going to hate me. The player out of Alabama, the Lions took in the second round last year. God, Lions fans are going to hate me. Lions fans are going to hate. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on the kid's name. I can't believe it. I love the kid. Had pick 6 against the Chiefs. First game. Love. Brian Branch. Sorry, Lions. So instead of Quentin Johnson, the Chargers probably should have took Brian Branch in the draft, but I loved Quentin Johnston. I just talked about the banged up offensive line in Herbert and that this is a run first team. Cortland Sutton is not a guy I want to get rid of because I really like what I see out of Bo Nix so far. Getting Stevenson's huge because if you lost Pacheco, there's a good chance Mixon is out. Pittman is a guy that I love Pittman as a player. I don't want anybody on that Colts offense who's not Jonathan Taylor right now. I'm not happy with the way that Colts offense is operating. And it sucks because Pittman's a dude who's got some upside. All right. The answer is yes. Get rid of McBride. Get rid of Quentin Johnston. Pick up Stevenson. You have to get a running back. You have to get a running back. And the best part is I don't expect Stevenson to stay healthy the whole year. I really don't. But is he going to stay healthy long enough that you can get Mixon or maybe Pacheco back? Now, keep in mind, Pacheco won't be back until either late in the season or, depending on how your league goes, playoffs. So that's kind of what you're doing with Pacheco, unless you just dropped him, which I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't make this move. Keep Sutton. Get rid of Johnston. By the way, dude, you have to understand something. McBride, I think, is a legit starting tight end. I know Ferguson's been a little banged up, but the one thing I will say is, Dallas likes to throw the ball. You have CD Lamb. The other receivers are okay. So you're going to take a loss at the tight end, but Johnson's keep Sutton. Please keep Sutton. Bite the bullet for McBride and Johnston. Hope that Anthony Richardson and that offense gets turned around. Make the trade. Keep Sutton. Absolutely keep Sutton, because every week Bo Nix just gets more and more comfortable, and towards the end of the season, Sutton's a guy that I really hold on to him. Out of Johnston and Sutton, definitely hold on to Sutton, please. I hate to tell you to get rid of McBride and Johnston, but if you can do this for Stevenson and Pittman, do it. And then bench Pittman. You might be able to move Pittman for somebody. I have no confidence. Talent wise, player wise, I love Pittman. I mean, you put Pittman on a team like my Chiefs. You put Pittman on a team like even the Raiders, his performance would go way up. By the way, like that wouldn't be a bad idea. But anyway, yeah, make the move. Keep Sutton, please keep Sutton, and start Stevens. And by the way, Stevenson's not a good start this week against San Francisco, but I mean, you're not going to have Mixon. I think Kamara is going to play this week, so you'll have to start Stevenson and Kamara. You may not be doing that well, but that's what I would do. And this week will be tough for you. I'm not going to lie to you. This week will be tough for you. Keep in mind, the one thing I do like is New England is off of a short week, but let me throw this out at you though. Let me throw this out at you though. With New England home against Miami the next week, Stevenson could have a huge game. Home against Houston, probably get you some points. London against Jacksonville probably get you some points there. And then you're home against, I say home in London, and then you're home against the Jets. That'll be a tough one, but I'm looking at Miami, Houston, Jacksonville over the next 3 weeks. Stevenson over those next couple of weeks, if he stays healthy, is probably doing some good things. So I do like this move. Keep in mind, here's another thing, is that Mixon is questionable. Keep an eye on Mixon. So yeah, make the move. Keep Sutton, and you're not going to get a lot of points this week with Stevenson, but the next 3 weeks, you're really going to like him. So, ooh, okay. Let me see if I can find the original comment. So okay. So this is why you're thinking about making a trade, because you have some guy. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So you have some good receivers here. Marvin Harrison Jr. in a dynasty league, you absolutely have to keep. Oh wow. Huh. I okay. Yeah. You got some guys in a dynasty league. I definitely want to keep. I have a huge man crush on Waddle. Once they figure things out in the quarterbacks, Higgins could go to another team. That's interesting. Legette's a guy you really, really want to keep, especially. I mean, I keep in mind things start working with Andy Dalton there in Carolina. They'll draft another quarterback probably and move on from Bryce Young, but still there's some good things. So Marvin Harrison Jr. and Legette. I do like this. Okay. You proved me wrong. The one thing I'm going to tell you though, is that, I just want to emphasize this, like Hawkinson and Laporta is kind of a push. The only issue, I mean, listen, Laporta is banged up. I think he's going to play. I know you're thinking to yourself, well, hey, look, Hawkinson's coming off an injury. I don't know if I trust him. I mean, I get that. I still like you're giving up Ridley. You got better receivers though, in my opinion. I mean, you got a lot more talent at receiver. Sorry, I dropped a comment. Your other receivers I like a lot more. I mean, you got to keep Marvin Harrison Jr. in a dynasty league. That's a no-brainer. I like Legette in a dynasty league. Winnington, I don't know. T. Higgins, I'm paying attention where he goes. Jaden Reed's interesting. Once Love comes back, I want to see what happens. I've always said the same thing about Waddle, is that every time I watch the Dolphins play, I'm impressed with Waddle. Miami has some issues. DJ Moore solid. Devontae Adams could be with another team. So yeah, I get it. I can't emphasize this enough though, is that it's just a push. Laporta and Hawkinson. Hawkinson though should come back after next week. I'd have to pay attention to that. But I really think that you're getting a push with Hawkins. Here's another thing, think about. I firmly believe Ben Johnson's going to leave Detroit. Okay. Now, Dan Campbell's a former tight ends coach. Okay. I mean, there's going to be like some offensive turnover there in Detroit. In Minnesota, you have an offensive-minded head coach that's going to have Justin Jefferson. Now, keep in mind, you have another brain freeze here, Jordan Addison, but I think you're going to have a little more stability there with Hawkinson. I really don't think you're getting a massive uptick. And you're giving away Ridley, and you're giving, if you're okay. I mean, if you really like Laporta, I get it, but I'm telling you right now, it just looks like you're you're basically giving a push at the tight end position, and you're throwing away Ridley. But I'll be honest with you. I like all these guys almost better, except for I'm assuming it's Quentin Johnston, who I would love in a different situation. Like I wanted him in Kansas City, to be honest, but in Winnington, I'm not going into. But I mean, Leggett, Marvin Harrison Jr., you have to keep those two guys. And then I like Waddle, and I like DJ more. Reed and Higgins, I might value more than, or I'm sorry, I'd rather take Ridley probably over Reed and Higgins. But keep in mind, Higgins could be a trade deadline guy this year. He'll go to another team next year. But like I said, I really don't think you're losing. I don't think you're getting that much of a gain with Laporta over Hawkinson when Hawkinson comes back. I really don't. Even like in a dynasty league, like going forward, I really don't. I really don't. Hawkinson was putting up some crazy numbers in Minnesota. He really was, and he's a Pro Bowl caliber tight end. He really is. But I understand why you want to do it. I'm leaning against it, but I mean, losing Ridley's not. I mean, you got 4 receivers here that I want to keep more than Ridley. So, CC. I start Stroud, Gibbs, Ramondre, Chase, Nico, McBride, Etienne with Daniels. I think sending Shakir for Bucky Irving is a good move. God, that's a tough one. One thing I like about Bucky Irving is he's a 3-down back. As of right now, he's playing Robin to Rashad White's Batman, and that's how I think it should be. He got some more touches last week than I expect. Another thing is that a rookie running back will kind of hit the wall, but Shakir's a guy that's quickly becoming a number 1 guy in Buffalo. But I mean, look, in a league, in a PPR league, I always like 3-down running backs better than receivers. Another thing is that you know, if you got Nico Collins and you got Chase, what are you doing with Shakir? Gibbs is a guy that really should be the number 2 with Montgomery. Etienne, I have no idea what's going on in Jacksonville, but Etienne's still a decent fantasy option. But I mean, one thing that I emphasize is that I love Ramondre Stevenson. It's a bad week against San Francisco this week. I wouldn't blame you if you started him. But sooner or later, Ramondre Stevenson, look, you have a running back who's 245, 250, running between the tackles every single day. I mean, he's going to break down. So I kind of like it. I'm a big fan of running backs with receiving ability versus a receiver, especially when you got a situation in Buffalo where Shakir's kind of becoming the number 1 guy, but Dalton Kincaid should be, and they like Keon Coleman, so I like it. Daniels, Eckler, Cooper, Waddle, Shakir, Ferguson's on my bench. Anyone we'd look to move on from. When you say Daniels, are you can you emphasize, is this Jaden Daniels, the Washington quarterback? Can you let me know who that is just before I tell you? Because I'll be honest with you, even despite all the hype he had, you always, I think you have to start CJ Stroud, but let me know who that is. Eckler's not going to play next week the way I understand it. So like, and I kind of want to keep an eye out on Eckler going forward because I think that they like Brian Robinson. They're going to tell Daniels to quit running the ball so damn much. But keep in mind if Austin Eckler, I don't think he's playing this week. I didn't have a chance to check. Getting Bucky Irvin might be a nice move. One thing about Amari Cooper that I'm kind of telling people is that there's some major offensive line problems in Cleveland, but they're not long-term offensive line problems. You could hold on to Amari Cooper, even though I know he's frustrating, and hold on to Waddle for now. And the reason why is you got some really good options with Chase and Nico Collins. I like McBride quite a bit. I like having Ferguson on your bench. I like Shakir for Irving. I like that move a lot. So let's see here. I mean, I just want to emphasize is are you talking about Jaden Daniels, the Washington quarterback? I just want to make sure I got the right guy. But I like Shakir for Bucky Irving. Keep in mind, I'm not starting Bucky Irving. You know, and Ramondre Stevenson against San Francisco. It's probably not going to get you a lot. Gibbs on Monday. I always say this. I like playing players on Monday night, and despite the offensive woes, ETN is still a guy you want to start. But I really like McBride. McBride against the Washington defense. You're really going to like that. So I think McBride could have a huge game. I think Collins could have a huge game. I think Chase could have a huge game. Full disclosure, I picked Carolina to beat the Bengals, but I still think Chase will have a good game. So Stroud should have a good game. But yeah, is there anybody I would move on from? I don't think Eckler's playing. Let me see what ESPN says because I'm almost positive he's out. Yeah, he's out. So he's not playing this week. Here's the problem with Eckler is because he's out, he has no value. So you're not going to be able to trade him. You may want to hold on to him, but since you're picking up Bucky Irving, you could move on. You can move on from Eckler. I mean, keep in mind, I like your running back room. The one thing though is that I'd like it if you could keep Eckler because I can't emphasize this enough. Stevenson, I don't think is going to stay healthy, and then Gibbs really should be the Robin to David Montgomery's Batman, but I'm not really. I would like to see Detroit lean on the running backs a little more. Pacheco will play this year. It's going to be anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. The issue is if you're somebody right now and you're holding on to Pacheco and you're 1-2 or 0-3, move on. If you're in a situation, if you're a 3-0 team and or you're 2-1, you have a really good matchup, hold on to Pacheco because late in the season, this is a guy that could really contribute. But it's going to be a while. But yeah, he'll play this year. Just traded Pacheco for Tank Dell and then just traded Tank Dell for Zach Moss. I like it. First off, they're using Zach Moss and Chase Brown kind of like a 1-2 combo. But sooner or later, Zach Moss, I think will really kind of take over and be that like 15 to 20 touch guy. Pacheco is not going to play for like 6 to 8 weeks, so I like the move. Keep in mind, even with the offensive line movement with the Bengals, if Armarius Mims, and this has always been an issue, but if Armarius Mims stays healthy, you have some bookend tackles that can play. You have skill position talent, and you have Joe Burrow. So you can't stack the box against Cincinnati. This was a genius move, by the way. I like Moss more than I like Tank Dell. Tank Dell is a cooler name, but Zach Moss is a guy, depending on the rest of your team. Zach Moss is a dude who's going to start. I think he's going to improve. And if I remember right, he had a touchdown last week against Washington. I think last week he probably got fantasy owners like 15 points. He's a guy that sooner or later is going to be like, he's going to be from like 10 to 15 touches, I think 15 to 20. Zach Moss is a dude who I firmly believe is a guy that can handle 20 to 25 touches. And I think he's in the right situation there in Cincinnati. So I really like this move. So Jonathan better have Chase Brown as a handcuff. Wouldn't be surprised takes over running back one at some point. Chase Brown as the running back number one. I think Zach Moss is the running back number one, but I do like I mean this is what he's saying, get Chase Brown. I think Zach Moss will take over more and more, but Chase Brown's been playing decent. I'm not anti Chase Brown. I really like Zach Moss. I talked about Devin Singletary. Moss is kind of a similar guy. 3 down back, doesn't have the home run speed. Where Brown's a dude, he's a smaller dude with home run speed. But I mean, I like the fact that when you have a bunch of weapons, I want a guy that can move the chains. I want a guy that when you're looking at, a 5 or a 6 man front, I'm looking at a 5 or 6 man box, you audible to the run. So, but I get what you're saying. James Conner and T. Higgins for CMC. I have Jordan Mason already. Ooh, boy. God, because I mean, look, I've been adamant that Trey Benson's going to get more and more touches because Trey Benson has that home run speed, but he's a 220-pound dude, or Connor's a 230, 235-pound dude with no speed. So I firmly believe Benson, as the season goes on, will take more and more touches away from Connor. T. Higgins could be a trade prospect. Iglazop, I'm butchering that name's getting more and more touches. The problem is I was just reading CMC is going to Germany to talk to a specialist, and there's no timetable for when CMC comes back. I fully believe he'll come back, sometime this year. I think it'll come back sometime in October. Think maybe. It's not a PPR league. Oh, okay. So this is not a PPR league. Okay. If this is not a PPR league, then don't do this. And the reason why is that if it's not a PPR league, I think CMC's value is a little lessened. Where a guy like Connor, I think Trey Benson's not a great receiver, but we'll take some of those touches away, like on third down and things like that. If it's not a CMC, if it's not a PPR league, don't do this. If it is a PPR league, the only way I would do this is if you're set at the running back and receiver position and you have a winning record and you just want to stash CMC for a playoff push. But I would lean against it. If you're not in a PPR league, I don't think CMC has the same value. So that's just my opinion. I would lean against this, but there are a few factors to consider. Are you stacked at the receiver position? Jordan Mason probably getting you the same value that Connor's getting, but could have a little more. But I get why you would want to do this. I'm leaning against it though. James Cook or Roma Duze, go Cook. Yeah, absolutely. Keep in mind going against a tough Baltimore defense, not as tough as they should be. I believe Keenan Allen's out. Chicago's pass happy for whatever reason. They shouldn't be. I just brought it up, but I think the matchup for Chicago is the Rams, and they're at home. There's a lot of other options. Even though I've said this over and over again, I like Roma Duze. I always want a 3 down back. So, let me ask you this. Who are your running backs that you're benching Cook? Who are your running backs that you're benching Cook? Because if Cook is your flex, I kind of question who you're taking over Cook at the running back position. I think Cook's gonna have a good game against Baltimore, even though Baltimore traditionally has a really good defense. Derek, I wish I would have said this. Kmet for floor, likely for God. Why didn't I think of that? Thank you for putting the words that are in my head. By the way, I am so sorry. I'm really behind on comments, but you might have some other line. But yeah, Cook. Out of these two, yeah, Cook. God, I wish I would have said that. I am so sorry. I'm really behind on comments. In a PPR league, would you trade Zay Flowers for Devontae Adams? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do not make this move. Devontae Adams in PPR league. Zay Flowers. I was just looking at his numbers. They're terrible for this year. And I don't think they're going to improve. The thing is with the Raiders is as long as Devontae, and by the way, he could be a trade candidate, but as long as he's with the Raiders, Devontae Adams is a guy that is without question their number one receiver and getting probably 10 to 15 targets a game. That's not exaggerating. I know that they want to incorporate Bowers in the offense, but no, Devontae Adams is a guy that they're going to continue to force feed. So PPR league, do not make this move. Who do you prefer, Pacheco, Chubb, or Brooks? What a great question. Throw Pacheco out because he's going to be out for a while. What did I lose you on? It says no PPR. So if you're not in a PPR league, I think CMC's value is lowered. But as far as this trade, don't trade for CMC in a non PPR league. Hopefully, I saw this, so hopefully I got your question. Throw out Pacheco. I love Nick Chubb so much, but he's 29. Coming. Nick Chubb couldn't stay healthy at Georgia. He couldn't stay healthy in the NFL. He's 29. Is this a guy that can stay healthy? Keep in mind, the Browns' offensive line will continue to improve. All right. I mean, I know they lost one of their guards, but their tackles are coming back. There's so much upside and potential with Brooks. So much potential with Brooks. I mean, Brooks, once he plays, he could be a top 10 running back. Could. Nick Chubb, when healthy, is a top 10 running back. That is a really great question. I'm going to give you the weenie answer, and I'm going to go with Chubb. If you're trying to pick somebody up, week 5, Chubb or Brooks, I would lean towards Chubb, but I honestly, I would not blame you if you decided that you wanted to take a flyer on Brooks instead. Wouldn't blame you. But leaning towards Chubb. Laporta or McBride for rest of the year PPR. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. It's a tough one. I'll be honest with you. You kind of put yourself in a situation where it's like, what flavor do you like better, chocolate or strawberry? There's not really a right answer. I mean, of course, one team's going to do better or one player's going to do better than another every week. I like McBride quite a bit. I also like that with Marvin Harrison Jr. and with Kyler Murray. Like I kind of like McBride a little more. I really think that as the season moves on, they're going to use Laporta more and more and more. I think they're going to kind of phase out Jameson Williams, but Amon-Ra is the number one dude. Now, I just said that, hey, you got Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a rookie. I from what I've seen of the Cardinals, it really seems like, Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a star. Let's be very clear. It really seems like he kind of likes McBride a little more. You have a little more creativity in the offense in Detroit. Better overall talent, better offensive line. I don't think there's really a wrong answer. I think you have two great options. Leaning towards McBride by a little bit, like a hair. This week I would lean toward McBride, but you really can't make a mistake. I'm giving you a shitty answer. I'm sorry, Nicholas. I'm leaning towards McBride by a hair. Final question before the commercial break here. Owen Pham, I traded Greg Wilson and Cook for CD and Zamar. Ooh. Okay, I mean, you won on CD, lost on Cook. Then right after that, I traded Kupp for Pickens and Ramondre. Ooh. Okay. I kind of like that. My team is now Stroud's. Oh God, you have Saquon Barkley. Okay, I'm not mad at you for giving up Cook for Saquon. Stroud, Saquon, Ramondre, CD, Rashee Rice. Nice. Jay Ferguson, T, or Pickens, win or loss. Okay. You have a major uptick in CD Lamb for Greg Wilson. Major uptick. I don't like Zamir. I'm very high on Cook, and he's a 3-down back, and I don't like any of the running backs the Raiders are putting out there right now. But the Kupp trade for Pickens and Ramondre is fantastic. So I really like Pickens, and the reason why I like Pickens is you got CD Lamb and Rashee Rice. All right. I really, really like that because your Pickens is the guy that's going to have he's the number one dude. So, I mean, you got 3 legitimate number one dudes. And the thing with T. Higgins is he's talented, plus he's a trade potential. The cup for Pickens and Ramondre is a huge win. Wilson and Cook for CD and Zamir. I have a hard time being impressed with that, but overall, here's what I'm looking at: CD, Samar, Pickens, Ramondre for Cup, Wilson, and Cook. That's a win, especially when you got Stroud and Saquon and CD. Those are guys you absolutely have to have. Rashee Rice. I'm a Chiefs fan, so I'm a little biased. I like your lineup, and keep in mind, the one thing I want to keep in mind though is that Ramondre Stevenson against San Francisco this week is probably not going to do well, but the next couple weeks he's staying healthy is probably going to put up some points. Losing Cook's a lot is tough. I just love Cook. I'm going to take a commercial break though, and I'm going to be right back with a little more with the final hour of Afternoon Delight. As I take a quick commercial break to fix my hair, just a reminder, my award-winning NFL Weekly Picks video is out. If you haven't watched it already, make sure you do it. Not now. This is only a commercial. We still have more Afternoon Delight to give you, but do check out my NFL Weekly Picks video. It's awesome! Dan Talks Football is a proud affiliate of BetUS. You can get up to 125% bonus as featured, or do what I did and take a 20% bonus up to $2,500. I made a video where I show you my first $100 deposit, and thanks to the extra 20%, it turned into $120 instantly. This promotion isn't just for 1 or 2, but your first 3 deposits. Click on the link in the description and start winning today. Keaton from Keaton Talk Sports joins Afternoon Delight every Monday. He has a great YouTube channel, and his channel is listed in the description below. We do have a problem though. We want to create a friendly wager on who picks more winners in our weekly picks videos. Can you help us out? What should Keaton do when I pick more winners than he does? Drop a comment here or in the weekly picks videos. Now, back for some more Afternoon Delight. All right. Thank you so much, man. I got one more hour of Afternoon Delight, and oh God, I don't think you take 31 questions. Ryan, I'm so sorry, man. Just so you know, if you drop a comment below, if I don't get to your question, if you drop a comment in the video, I will answer later on tonight. You can also DM me on Instagram, X, or Twitter. I'll get back to you. You can go old school. You can email me at dantalksfootball@yahoo.com. I am going to try to get all these questions. I'm going to try to get all the questions answered, though. All right. Ooh, boy. All right. Where was I at? This is where I was at. God, giving up Cook just kills me, but I love getting CD Lamb. Overall, your second trade Cup for Pickens and Ramondre, I love it. Full PPR, best start for Flex, Stevenson or Jennings. I don't have any faith that Jennings is going to reproduce the 3 touchdown performance. Stevenson, I don't like the matchup, but you're got a few extra days rest. Leaning Stevenson. Keep in mind, I mean, that Patriots defense is really good. This could be a very ugly, low-scoring game. Leaning towards Stevenson because you're much more likely to get more touches, and I think even though Jennings got 3 last week. I think you're much more likely to get a touchdown from Stevenson this week. Both options are not ideal, but I like. I always say this: you want to get a running back just because you're going to get more touches than you do with a receiver. Keep in mind, Brock Purdy's not 100%. I fully expect him to go. Pickens, Cooper, JT for Etienne and Olave. I really like Jonathan Taylor, and I love the fact that you got a guy in Jonathan Taylor who, I mean, could be a star. All right, I love Olave, but I've been saying this about Pickens. He's a legit number 1 guy, and Amari Cooper has some massive upside. I definitely like this move because you get Jonathan Taylor. Mozart, is he coming back? Is he not coming back? I know our air chain had some really good games. I love Olave. I really, really do. Make this move because there's not too many guys that you're going to start ahead of Jonathan Taylor. So make this move. And Amari Cooper, once that offensive line gets fixed up, Amari Cooper, you may really, really enjoy. I would strongly suggest wait a minute. You're giving up Pickens, Cooper, and Jonathan Taylor for Etienne and Olave? No, don't do that. No, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, Amari Cooper. I got that part. Would I start Josh Allen or CJ Stroud? That's a how the hell did you get in a fantasy league and got both of these guys? How did you do that? That's a tough one, man. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, CJ Stroud against Jacksonville is probably the better matchup, but I mean, the one thing about Josh Allen is that, I mean, that Bills offense is just crazy right now. Full disclosure, I did pick Baltimore to win in an upset, and it is in Baltimore. This is just how did you get both of these guys? You can't really make a bad decision here. You can't. CJ Stroud at home against a Jacksonville team that looks defeated. That's hard to go against. Josh Allen's running ability really. Keep in mind, CJ Stroud can run. It's just they don't use him that much. You're not making a wrong choice here. I would lean towards Allen, but you can't make a bad choice here. That's a weenie question, but as somebody just pointed out, I'm 45 minutes on the same question, so. So, by the way, drop a comment below. Drop a comment below. So, no. Denver Gator says just pop in and say what's up, like and subscribe. Thank you, Denver Gator, man. Rhinos Roundtable. I feel bad with trashing your your Colts today. I love Jonathan Taylor. It's just don't start anybody on fantasy who's not Jonathan Taylor. Scooby Taylor, great question. Who wins in a dynasty superflex? A, Amon-Ra 2025 mid to late second round, Pickens, or B, Pickens 2025 early to mid first round, mid to late first. That's wow. That's a good one. I mean, Amon-Ra, a mid to late second versus Pickens early to mid first. I mean, Amon-Ra. I mean, Amon-Ra is going to be more productive. The later draft pick, The way I'm reading this is that the mid to late first is the higher draft option, which makes sense. So, I mean, it's got to be A. I mean, you get the better play. I think Amon-Ra in 2025 is going to be more productive than Pickens in 20. Keep in mind, the one thing I want to emphasize: Pickens in 2025. Who's playing quarterback? You don't know. You really don't know. It could be a rookie. It could be Fields. You have no clue. So I mean, A probably has to be it. Yeah, I thought it was. And Keith Daniels, if I remember right, you have Stroud. Again, I apologize for the delay, but yeah. Full PPR must start 3. Brian Robinson, Devin Singletary, Ramondre Stevenson, or Jennings. I'm a big fan of the running backs. With Austin Eckler out, I think you have to start Robinson. I like Singletary this week. Stevenson's a bad matchup against San Francisco. I still like him more than Jennings. So, who should I pick? I'm assuming that's who it is. It's either that or call me Stu. It's okay. No PPR. Who should I start in my flex? Okay, it's not a PPR. That's so you want to go with boy, it's a tough one. Okay, so you have Darnell Mooney, a guy that they should be using more. Javonte Williams, they're phasing him out. Keep in mind, I could see him being productive against Seattle on Monday night. I do expect Laporta to be a go. I don't have an update on Jordan Addison. I don't have an update. I believe he's playing. You have to figure that part out. Rico Dowdle, I don't understand why they haven't activated Dalvin Cook to the 53. I think they'll use Ezekiel Elliott a little more in this game. This week, look, I'll be honest. I would start Addison if he's healthy. I don't think he is. The Saints defense is tough. You got 4 options I really don't like. I would go with Addison if healthy. I don't think he is. Addison if healthy. I don't like Dowdle, even though I like running backs more than I like receivers, even in a non-PPR. And like I said, I think they're phasing Williams out. And Monday Night Football at home, Laporta's banged up. Addison, if healthy, and I would go with either Mooney or Williams. I'd lean towards Williams. They need to figure a way to. Well, okay, so I'm a Chiefs fan. I do live play-by-play for Chiefs Falcons. Mooney looked like the best option. I don't know why they're not using him more. I mean, you got Kyle Pitts and Drake London physically is more gifted. You don't draft a guy who was the 8th overall. Don't use him. But Mooney just seems like a better dude. I'm not giving you a good answer, but Jordan Addison, if healthy, you can go Mooney or Williams. I would avoid Rico Dowdle. I'm just not high on the guy, and I think on a short week they may lean a little more towards Ezekiel Elliott, maybe. Would I trade Deontay Johnson for Stevenson and Pittman? That's a great question. Here's the problem: is that with Andy Dalton, you have no idea if Deontay Johnson's a flash in the pan, or if you have something there that could be really special, because I like Deontay Johnson in an offense that is quick rhythm passing like they're running in Carolina. Now that you have veteran quarterback there, I really like that option. And he could be the number one dude, at least until Leggett figures everything out. Here's the issue. In an offense like that, it takes a little bit of time to figure things out, because I'm trying to keep this short, but Deontay Johnson could be a stud. Stevenson, when healthy, is a guy that I absolutely love. I would avoid anybody on the Indianapolis Colts not named Jonathan Taylor right now. As much as I love Stevenson, I would really, can you hold off this week, or are you in a situation where you need to get a running back? Because if you need to get a running back, I understand. I don't like the matchup of Stevenson against San Francisco. I could see him getting a touchdown. Just, you get down like inside the 5 or something like that. I can see them, just saying, hey, let's just run you right up the middle. Deontay Johnson is, I think you may want to hold on to Deontay Johnson. There's a chance that they're completely different players, but Dave Canales came from Tampa Bay. The production that you have from Chris Godwin, I can see that like being production that you're getting for Deontay Johnson. I could see like 1,200 yards and 7 to 9 touchdowns out of Deontay Johnson. So I'd hold off, as much as I love Stevenson. And I do think after this week, I think Stevenson's next couple of weeks are going to be extremely productive. If you need a running back, I get it. Is there anybody else besides Pittman that they want to give up? I would avoid Pittman right now completely, because I don't like that offense in Indianapolis. So Dave Flynn also wondering if any news on this. So I was paying attention. Njoku is still questionable. And I start him as only David. Okay, so David Njoku is still out, to the best of my knowledge. I was paying attention that right before I came on. Right now you have to start Gesicki over Njoku. As far as Njoku, I'm hoping that he comes back next week. I think that he when he comes back, I think that they'll force feed him the ball in Cleveland, and I say that because I do expect the offensive line to get better in Cleveland, and I think the offense overall will get a lot better. Njoku, I've been paying attention to that. I think ESPN's calling him questionable. I don't think he's going to play this week. I really don't, and it's kind of a shame, because Cleveland at Vegas, like that's kind of it's a very important game. It's a winnable game. It's a winnable game. I don't think he's going to play. If he does come back for this game, should you start him? I would go with Gesicki this week. Keep an eye out on Njoku. I would go with Njoku next week, though. I think he'll play next week. I think he's out this week. If Njoku is healthy, I would still go with Gesicki. Oh, this is going to be fun. PPR 3-way trade. I give up. God. You give up ETN and Chase. Okay. Ooh, boy, God. And you get Evans, Cooper, Deontay, Mozart, and you need wide receiver depth. I really don't want to tell you, because look, Jamar Chase is a legitimate number one dude who can put up 15 to 20 every single week. Even though things are bad offensively in Jacksonville, Etienne's still a dude you want to start. Mozart, when he comes back, is probably going to put up some good numbers. Deontay Johnson could be a star. And the thing is with Evans and Cooper is that, they're both solid number twos who are going to give you consistent production. I get why you would want to make this trade because, you're getting three solid. The thing is, though, with Deontay Johnson, you may be getting something really, really good. And I understand why you want to do that. Is your other receiver? I'm sorry. I've been it's been 44 minutes. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. I try. I really do. So, I really don't want to tell you. I have a hard time signing off on two legitimate number ones. Even if I remember right, you got a stud number one receiver besides Chase, if I remember correctly, even though it's been 44 minutes. I really don't want to approve this trade. I will say this. I like both Evans, Cooper, and Deontay. You could really bolster your roster. Mozart, when he gets back, will be good. But I think Etienne and Chase are two guys you just don't want to give up right now. I get why you want to do it. I know if you need wide receiver depth, I get that. And if I remember right, you do have a stud receiver, but I don't want to tell you to give up two guys that are must starts for a couple guys that are keep in mind Deontay Johnson could be a very, very solid number two, maybe even a number one, but you don't know. Here's what you do know. You do got number one in Chase and you got number one in Etienne. I have a hard time telling you to get rid of a couple must starts for guys that are doing okay. I have a hard time pulling the trigger on that one. Libro 17, what's up, bro? Little bro 17. So I'm behind. I know. I'm sorry. Would you do Garrett Wilson for James Conner and Jalen Reed? Need my running backs are Jacobs and Akers. That's interesting because you got a good guy in Jacobs. Akers will go back to the bench, so I get that. I have a hard time really approving it because you don't know if you have Jordan Love. And even when he comes back, Christian Watson is going to be the number one guy. I love Jaden Reeds, by the way. I like guys like that. Guys that, you get the ball in their hands and they're exciting and they're fun. And I also like the fact that you already got Josh Jacobs, so adding Jaden Reed kind of adds something. But because when Mixon comes back, your Akers is going to go to the bench. I loved Akers coming out of Florida State, by the way. I really thought he would be like a legit number one guy. I don't know why it hasn't panned out. But bottom line, are these your only running? You got to have another one. Look, if you only got two running backs, you have to do it. Connor's at least starting, even though I think he's getting phased out. Wilson's the number one option for Aaron Rodgers. So, but they are using their running backs more. I have a hard time really getting on this trade, to be honest with you. I have a hard time getting on, but if your only running backs are Jacobs and Akers, I don't see how you don't make this trade. But you got to have another running back on your roster, don't you? Is there anybody? If these are your only two running backs, I'm assuming your waiver wire options are gone. You have to do it. I really don't like it, because one thing with Reed is that I don't think Reed's a guy that I mean, as a player, I like him. I mean, there's a lot of questions like is Jordan Love playing this week? Because if he's not, you're definitely not playing Jaden Reed. Even if he is playing, you got a lot of other options. But I mean, because Mixon's probably, I was looking, Mixon's probably not going to play this week, so you get Akers for this week. But I just have a hard time pulling the trigger on this one. But if those are your only two running backs, then make the move. You're going to be really mad when Wilson has that 100-yard, 2-touchdown performance, and he will have a 100-yard, 1 or 2 touchdown performance sometime this year, and you're going to hate it. So, but I mean, if those are only two running backs, you got to do something. Just Dre, man, I get some love, even though it's been 44 minutes. I feel like I have a sleeper roster. Dalton and Jones. Yeah, you do. Amon-Ra, Diggs, Cup, Naylor, Brian Thomas Worthy, tight ends, Gesicki, Ferguson, running backs. Yeah. You do. Yeah, you do. I like a lot of those options. You definitely are going to start. I would start Dalton over Jones, but you're talking about, you wanted to pick him up. You liked him, running the ball. Cup, when he comes back, Brian Thomas Jr. could be something really, really special. Really, really special. Hubbard's a guy that could have a huge week. And I like Aaron Jones a lot. By the way, Aaron Jones going back to Green Bay, that's a must start this week. Well, I think Allen's out. Cena 17, probably butchering that, so I'm sorry. Allen, I think, is out this week. Oduze, but we'll see. Kicker, Boswell. As long as you have, as long as ideal weather conditions. That's something you always got to worry about, Pittsburgh. Okay. Defense, Pratt, nice. Keon White, guy I like. Carl Granderson. I like Granderson. I know the sacks have been going down. You may have to replace him, but a guy I like. Zach Bond, what a great pickup. Ernest Jones, like him a lot. EJ Speed, Nick Cross, love those guys. Okay, you're just bragging about your defensive team. Yeah. Oh God, this is such a good. This is a really good team. Granderson, I don't know his numbers, but I think the production's been going down. Do you think it would be a fair trade if I gave away Aaron? Don't give away Aaron Jones this week. No, Philly Eagles, no, don't do this. Aaron Jones going back to Green Bay do not give him up. Don't give up. Okay, Aaron Jones, Nico Collins, Ladd McConkey, I get Jahmyr Gibbs and Devontae Smith. Do not make this trade. Please do not. One thing about Devontae Smith is that when A.J. Brown comes back, he goes back to being number 2. They got Saquon Barkley, who's playing at an MVP caliber level. They traded for Jameer Dotson, former number 1 pick. He was 15th overall pick by Washington. Don't give up a must start in Aaron Jones, number 1 in Nico Collins. I'm not high on Ladd McConkey at all. Do not make this move. Aaron Jones, as long as he stays healthy. I like Aaron Jones as long as he stays healthy more than Gibbs. Gibbs is more flashy, more exciting, more upside. Would it be a fair trade? Do not make this trade. No, Philly Eagles, please do not. No. Aiden, I just made a massive trade. I'm almost instantly regretting. Yikes, I'm $1 million. Okay. I'll get to it here in just a second here. AR77, you give up 2 wide receivers, Jonathan Taylor, just don't make this. Yeah. If you give up 2 receivers in Jonathan Taylor, do not do this. Yeah, I agree. 0%. I can X1K. Okay. Running backs are Hall, Kamara. like this already. Etienne and Ford really like this. Wide receivers London, Rice, Neighbors, Godwin, and my tight end Bowers and Goddard. Would you recommend me to trade Godwin for CeeDee Lamb? I mean, you have some really, really good receivers here. I mean, you got Rice and Neighbors, but you have somebody who's going to trade Godwin for CeeDee Lamb? Yeah. Always make that move. Man, I'm glad, man. Sorry, okay. I traded Gibbs, Mason, and Ayuk for Justin Jefferson, Najee Harris, and Singletary. So now my core is Jefferson, Devontae Smith, Barkley, Kyron Williams, and Andre Pickens plus picks. Okay, so let's. I just want to focus on this right here. I wonder if I can. Okay, I can't highlight it. I want to go with. Let's just do this. Gibbs, Mason, and Ayuk for Jefferson, Harris, and Singletary. That's a win. That is a win. Ayuk is on. Now, keep in mind, he's going to get more and more involved in that offense. But as Kittle comes back, Debo comes back, and he isn't playing well. Mason had his best production. So let's look at this player for player. Justin Jefferson versus Ayuk win. Najee Harris for Mason win. Singletary for Gibbs. Singletary gets more touches. Gibbs get more plays. You won. Congratulations. We were talking about somebody brought in. Hey, should I drop the other Pittsburgh running back? Can't believe I forgot his name. And I was like, well, I don't think so because Najee Harris I think's banged up. Turns out he's banged up. They're not even using him. So yeah, and so your core now is Jefferson, Devontae Smith. I'm not super high on, but Barkley, who's right now an MVP, and Kyron Williams, who's amping it up. So here's what you got. You got Barkley, you got Harris, you got Williams. Pickens is solid dude, and you get picks on top of that. No, you won this trade. Congratulations. If you gave up Gibbs, Mason, and Ayuk, and you got maybe the best receiver in football, a running back who's now running behind a really good and improving offensive line, plus I like the fact that you got Pickens on the same team as Najee Harris. That helps. You got Ramondre Stevenson. That's a solid dude who I would put behind this week Barkley, Harris, and Williams, but Ramondre Stevenson has some good matchups in another couple of weeks. No, you won. Congratulations. You Gibbs, Mason, and Ayuk for Justin Jefferson, Najee Harris, and Singletary. You win. Congratulations. Do not feel bad. Mooney, and I'm sorry, man. I know I'm behind on comments here. Mooney. Yeah, I know. It's been 44 minutes. Not Mozart. You get Mooney. Did I read that right? Wrong, Williams. LOL. Hold on. Even though it's been 44 minutes, I want to make sure I get this right. Williams, Mooney. So instead of I'm kind of lost here, and like you pointed out, you get Mooney, wrong, Williams. Yeah, I don't think you should start Javonte. Oh, Javonte Williams. Okay, yeah, I was talking about Javonte in Denver. Oh, okay. As much as I love Javonte, this is one of my biggest man crushes, by the way. For whatever reason, things aren't working out. I was kind of expecting him to have like a Alvin Kamara type of role, but they like McLaughlin better. So, let me see here. Let's see if I can find that comment here. And I know I'm behind. Darnell Mooney. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I think I did get a little confused here. Javonte Williams, the running back. I think I got a different name or mixed up. I understand now. Okay, so 2 running backs, 2 receivers. I dropped the ball there. Sorry, Dave. Let me try to rectify this, and I might have to read some emails afterwards, drop some comments, things like that. Let's take a look. Jordan Addison's questionable, listed as limited. With Javonte Williams in Denver, I had such a man crush on him, and I really thought this was going to be a huge win for him, but they really aren't using him. 24 carries, 52 yards. Last week, what did he do? 5 carries, 12 yards, 4 receptions, 29 yards. I normally would always go with a running back, and I like a running back who's a 3-down back with some size. But I mean, you really don't have any good. These are bad options. I will say this: Addison, if healthy, limited in practice. Javonte Williams, I have such a man crush on this guy. Keep in mind, the Denver doesn't have a good matchup this week. I mean, they're going against the Jets, who I think are going to stifle them. If you're somebody, I got some comments in my picks video that don't be surprised if Denver pulls the upset. If you're somebody who thinks Denver is going to pull the upset, then make that move. So sorry I dropped the ball there on that. So here's the thing. I wish I could. Javonte Williams not this week. Dottle not this week. I'm not a fan of either guy. I would go with Addison if he's healthy. Keep in mind, Dowdle against a tough Giants defense if he does well, but I just don't see it. You may have to go Javonte Williams. Go with the upside. A bank. Here's your question. And by the way, I love Mooney. I think they should use a more bad matchup against Saints. Javonte Williams, massive man crush on the dude. Not sure why they're not using him more. It looks like they're phasing him out of offense. If this is the week that they put everything together, that Jets defense is brutal, though. I would go with Addison if healthy. I really don't want to tell you to go with Mooney over a running back, but you might have to do that. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I love Javonte. I really, 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 really do. But yeah. Keep an eye out. If Jordan, I think Jordan Addison plays, you probably want to go him. Should I start Jameson Williams, Chubb, Hubbard? Go with Hubbard. Go with Hubbard. I understand because you got Williams on Monday night. I get that. But Chuba Hubbard, I really want to see one more game from Carolina. I got a feeling Dalton's going to have a great game this week. And Chuba Hubbard, keep in mind, like once Jonathan Brooks comes back off the PUP list, his touches may go way down. Go with Hubbard. By the way, Jameson Williams only had 2 touches last week, so. Yeah, it's a shame, but I still think ETN's a must start. Yeah. Do not trade Aaron Jones. As long as Aaron Jones is healthy, keep him, but definitely play Aaron Jones when he's healthy against the Packers. Definitely do that. Yeah, do not trade Aaron Jones this week. So, trade Gibbs and Bowers for JT and Waddle. Trying to avoid Gibbs by week 5. Need some wins, and I got McBride also. Okay, good job with McBride. So I get that. Yeah, this is smart. This is actually a smart move. The reason why is that I think Jonathan Taylor is going to get more touches. Plus, you have that home run threat that you also have with Gibbs, but with Jonathan Taylor, He's a 230-pound wrecking ball. I mean, this is I have such a man crush on Jonathan Taylor. Because you have McBride, that's why I would make this move. Because sooner or later, like, things are going to get better with the Dolphins offense, and McBride's going to start. I think McBride should start over Bowers. Controversial opinion. Bowers may have like 90 yards and a touchdown, and you'll hate me, but McBride, I would start McBride this week, definitely. But yeah, making this trade, I really, really, really like this trade. I really like this trade. Look, Pittsburgh at Indianapolis. It's a tough matchup for Jonathan Taylor. Let's be honest. More than likely this week, Gibbs may give you better value than Jonathan Taylor. But here's the thing. Jonathan Taylor is going to probably get 5 to 10, maybe 15 more touches than Gibbs. So even though you're going Pittsburgh versus Seattle, I'm not buying into Seattle being the second coming of a great defense. So, but yeah, I like this move. I like this move because you have McBride. If you didn't have McBride, I would be like, I don't know, because like I would see Bowers. Bowers is a start for most people, but if you have McBride, keep McBride. McBride, I think, is a better option than Bowers. JT's better than Gibbs. So yeah, and Waddle will get more involved. I still think Waddle's a 1,000-yard receiver. I think when everything's said and done in a PPR league, Waddle will get you more points than Bowers. And then you got McBride. So yeah. What I said, what about I give away James Cook, Nico Collins, Ladd McConkey for Devontae Smith and Gibbs? No. You know that meme? We have Michael Scott where he's just going, no, oh God, no. Like that's what I'm telling you. Like, no. Do not give away Cook, Collins, and Ladd McConkey. Do not do this, please. No. Yeah, man. You gave away Gibbs, Mason, and Ayuk. You got Justin Jefferson, Najee Harris, and Devin Singletary, and they're telling you lost. Good, you're in the right fantasy league. If they told you they lost this, if you won this trade. You won this trade. Look. Let me point this out here. Let's go back here. Let's go back the last week here against the Rams. Okay. Let's go back. Let's go back to this here. Okay. Let me go back. Let me go back here. Okay. Deebo Samuel didn't play. CMC didn't play. George Kittle didn't play. 5 catches, 48 yards. That's what Brandon Ayuk got. The guy they gave $120 million to. Juwan Jennings, 11, 175, and 3 won't happen again. Okay, won't happen again. You got Justin Jefferson. I work with this Vikings fan. He goes, Justin Jefferson's the best receiver in football. And I said, I'm not really sure about that. He goes, who's better? And I'm like, by the way, like, he's not even getting ramped up yet. 14, 273, and 3. I mean, you remember he was banged up against the Texans, and he said he's definitely playing against the Texans. Hold on, I'm sorry. Let me. But I don't think he had a great game against the Texans. Okay, so I don't think he had a great game against the Texans. 8 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown. Okay, let me explain. Justin Jefferson as a touchdown week 1. 133 in a touchdown week 2, 81 in a touchdown week 3. Gibbs exciting. Yeah. I'll take Najee Harris and Singletary. But I mean, here's the thing with Mason is that he already had his best weeks, and then CMC comes back. No, I'm gonna tell you something. You're in a fantasy football league I want to be a part of because you won this trade. It is not even a doubt, and they're telling you this is it. You know what? You know what? I mean, I would encourage people join the conversation. Please have them subscribe to my YouTube channel, but. You know, you may want to just be like, you know, I'm just going to keep this to myself that I won this trade. So, yeah, you won this trade. There's no doubt in my mind that you won this trade. If your league said that you lost, that you're in the right fantasy football league. You're going to win some money. You are going to win some money. I want to hear back from you, and I want to help you out because you're going to win some money. I want to help. You're in the right league. Win some. You're going to win some money. Yeah, I'm 1-2. My team dropped 55 points in the PPR 12 man. I have quarterback. Oh, okay. You're okay. Kyler Murray's a must start this week. Good job. Eckler's out. We already talked about that. Josh Jacobs. Tough matchup against the Minnesota defense. Jordan Mason, tough matchup against a very underrated, very good New England defense, but Eckler's out, so you're in a situation, you're in a tough situation there, okay. But I mean, the good news is Kyler Murray may have a massive game. So Tyreek Hill, I think you have to start. You have Mike Evans, JSN, Wan'Dale, Shaheed. Ooh, that's a tough one. I think you have to start Tyreek Hill. The problem is with Evans, JSN, and Shaheed, because I like JSN against kind of I like JSN against Detroit. The issue I have is that you got DK Metcalf. I don't know if Kenneth Walker's coming back or not. Tyler Lockett's a good guy. Mike Evans going against Philly is also a tough one. So you have some bad matchups, but I'm going to tell you this: Kyler Murray is a good thing, and then the Kyler Murray and McBride by themselves, you may get 55 points just with those two alone. Okay. But you only put up 55 points. I get why. I mean, Tyreek Hill didn't do much. Okay, but listen, you may score 55 this week just with Kyler Murray and McBride. So you're in good shape. Jacobs and Mason, those are tough. Those are tough. Okay, you're in tough. You're both matchups. You may not do very well. Tyreek Hill on Monday night, I got a feeling he's going to have a good game. Okay. I think they're going to force feed him against a good Titans defense. Okay. I would lean towards Evans here. I mean, it's a tough matchup against Philly. I get that. I have no faith in Wan'Dale on Thursday night. I hope I'm wrong about that, but I wouldn't. He's a guy I wouldn't start. I like playing guys on Monday night. So JSN either. So here's the deal. I like the JSN matchup, but if I haven't even checked here, but if Kenneth Walker plays JSN, I don't like Shaheed against a very, very, very good Atlanta Falcons secondary. So here's my final answer: Tyreek, Evans, JSN, wide receiver 1, 2, and flex. You should have a good week with Kyler Murray and McBride, and you're hoping Jacobs and Mason, one of those guys, gets a touchdown. They're both really tough matchups, but that's what I would do without any options. I will tell you this: Kyler Murray and McBride, are both excellent options this week. Listen, I'm down to my final 10 minutes. If I don't answer your question, please drop a comment. Email me, dantalksfootball@yahoo.com, Twitter, Instagram, or Twitter, X, whatever, Instagram, drop a comment below. I will get to them before Thursday Night Football, plus another 3 hours of fantasy football talk tomorrow on Fantasy Football Thursday. So PPR league, yeah. I figured that, but yeah. Kyler Murray and McBride may be a lot of fun for you. You may have a fun game. Start Pittman, Zay Flowers, or Mozart is looks like he's out. I have no confidence in Pittman. You go with Flowers. Really not productive at all. But look, Pittman against the Steelers defense, Mozart's probably not going to play. Got to go with Flowers. Sit one, A-Chain, Ayuk, Zach Moss, full PPR. Sit one. That's interesting. I would go with the receiver, even though I could see Ayuk having a game here. Keep in mind, I was just talking about Mozart probably not going to play. If Mozart does play, you may want to consider Ayuk. But I think Zach Moss is the starter. The issues with H-Chain or Ayuk. I'll be honest. I also really love guys on Monday night, so sit Ayuk. DJ Moore and Swift for no. Okay. I understand why. Okay, look. They're going to start using Swift, and Moore in DK is basically a push. All right, so don't do that. The homie Roland, it may not have sent. Drop a comment in YouTube, DM me on Instagram or X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, or you can go old school, email me. I will answer late tonight, early morning, depending on what part of the country you're in, but I will get back to you before Thursday Night Football tomorrow. And also I'll be live tomorrow, same time, but I might have missed your question. It might not have sent. Chicken Wing, thoughts on my squad: Hurts, Geno Smith, Monty, Mason, Hubbard, Eckler, wide receiver Evans, Waddle, Higgins, Jameson Williams, McConkey, tight end Jake Ferguson. You got a solid lineup here. Tough decision. Do you want to go Geno Smith or Hurts for Geno Smith Monday night? Hurts against a good Bucs defense. That's a tough one. I could make an argument for both ways. Like your running backs. I mean, Eckler's not going to play. Hopefully you caught that. I like Montgomery. I'm not buying into Seattle's defense being really good. And I think Hubbard probably flex Mason this week, even though he's in a tough matchup by himself. Not high on. So here's the deal. You're getting some points at Evans. That's a guarantee. Higgins or Waddle is your question. And that's a tough one. I could argue both ways on that, because I mean, I would here's what I would do this week: Evans and Higgins, even though Waddle on Monday night's always fun. Same thing with Jameson Williams. It's just that they seem to be phasing him out of that Detroit offense. And then you want to go all three of your running backs, Monty, Mason, and Hubbard. And you have a chance with Monty and Hubbard having huge games. Hurts or Geno's a tough one. I like Hurts' running ability, obviously. Geno's a better matchup. Keep in mind, Hurts is playing in Tampa. I do think Philly's going to win that game. I don't believe in revenge games, but I could see Philly wanting to avenge the playoff loss. So, but I would go with all three of your running backs. Oh yeah. Oh God. Yeah. You have to do it. It might not have. This is the first time I've seen you. If I did miss your question, drop a comment on YouTube after the show's over. You can drop a comment in there. I will answer it. I will definitely answer it before Thursday Night Football. It'll be later tonight. You can also hit me up on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram. Old school, you can email me, dantalksfootball@yahoo.com. Jonathan Santiago, this shouldn't have been asked, but start have to be asked. But no. I want you to ask. I mean, yeah. I mean, start 3 between Garrett Wilson, Ayuk, JSN, Dobbins, or Christian Watson if Love plays full PPR. Yeah, I like Watson if Love plays. Makes sense. I like Dobbins, even though he's going against a really, 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 really tough defense in Kansas City. I still like Dobbins. So go with Dobbins. That one Dobbins. I would go with Watson if Love plays. You're not going to know that. You don't have any of these guys on Thursday. This is interesting because Garrett Wilson's going against a tough matchup against Denver, but I like him a little more than Ayuk this week, just a little bit. JSN on Monday night could have a big game. So, I mean, I think Dotson and Watson, the way I don't know the whole situation. I'll have to get back to you tomorrow, and we'll kind of have to take a look at that Jordan Love situation. I'm a level with you. You might just want to prepare for Watson not playing. And in that case, here's what I would do, even though Ayuk's a better player. I would probably go Wilson, JSN, and Dobbins. Dobbins is the one that you definitely want to start out of these guys. You may want to prepare for Watson, not really doing anything. So same time, brother. Depending on what part of the country you're in, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, for 3 hours. Hit me up. Twitter, X, Instagram, or you can go old school and email me, dantalksfootball@yahoo. I'll get back to you before Thursday Night Football. It will be either late tonight, early in the morning, but I will get to you. Promise. Better full PPR flex start, Joanne and Moss. Yeah. You want to go with Moss. Carolina's defense has been bad. Patriots defense has been good. I don't see Jawan Jennings just blowing up again. I don't see it at all. Probably somebody would be like, "Oh, 173 touchdowns you got." No, go with Moss. All right. Andre, you're going to be the final question here. Pittman, Ford for Terry. Ooh, okay. Listen, I'm a huge fan of Terry McLaurin. I'm butchering the name. Great. One of the greatest catches I've seen, and what a great thing. When Chubb comes back, Ford's barely going to touch the ball. I have no confidence in Pittman. I don't love it. I'm assuming making this that you're hoping Pittman would be a little more productive. I only make this move if I'm guaranteed Chubb's going to start after week 4. Because I mean, this next week, even though it's not a good matchup, Ford is going to probably get about 20 touches. I mean, this is a big game. I mean, here's the deal. If you make this move, here's the drill. I like McLaurin versus the Cardinals secondary. I like that. It's against the Raiders, right? Yeah. Ford's probably going to have 20 to 25 touches. Not the best matchup. Pittman, I have no confidence in. I'm assuming if you have some running backs, make this move. If you're in a situation where Ford's flexing or starting, don't do it. Okay, I'm gonna do 2 questions here. Andre, Dan, I'm in desperate need of a running back. Number 1, who can I get for Rashad White Neighbors package? Oh my God. Neighbors is a hot name right now. You can get anybody you want. I would really advise not trading Neighbors, who the Giants seem intent on force feeding. And Rachaad White's a low end too, but there's a lot of upside. So I would really not don't do this. Don't do this. Please don't, because you're in a PPR league. I mean, Neighbors is a must start. I mean, unless you're loaded at receiver, he's your running back receiver too. White's also going to be solid. I mean, you can get any. I mean, seriously, Neighbors is a big name. So whoever's in your league is going to want to make a move. But don't do this for right now, please. Hit me up tomorrow and see what options are available. But you can get anybody with this, because Neighbors is a big name. Plus, he's playing on Thursday night, so maybe want to grab him and get a little jazzed up about Thursday night. But I wouldn't recommend doing this. Final question: trade Godwin and Neighbors for CMC, Jacobs, and Pickens. I have London and Olave starting Javonte Williams. Ooh, now I know why you want a running back. God. If you're starting Javonte Williams, you need a running back. Jacobs has a bad matchup this week. CMC is going to be out for an indefinite period of time. Pickens and Godwin's about a push. But the problem with London and Olave is, oh God, I mean, I get why you want Jacobs. Neighbors is a must. So I would get Cook instead of Jacobs. I got to end the show, guys. I'm sorry about that. I may miss the question here. Should I try to trade London? Yeah, trade London. Get rid of London. This is a no-brainer. You have Lamb, you have Neighbors. Get rid of London. That's definite. Need to trade one of those. I'm struggling bad at running back. Listen, Rachaad White's going to get you some points this week. I like Philly's defense. He's going to get you some points this week. You could trade anybody. Keep London. Or I'm sorry. Keep Neighbors. Offer Reed. Offer Addison. Offer London. Keep CeeDee Lamb and keep Neighbors. Keep those two. Get rid of everybody. You can trade anybody else, and keep me updated on who's available. But yeah, I like Cook instead of Jacobs this week, definitely. Even though Baltimore has a good defense, Cook's, I think, an overall better option. But both those guys are very, 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 very good. Got offer Neighbor, Aaron Jones for Saquon, other running backs, Kamara, JT. And okay, I really want to answer this one. This is a good one. This is my final. Okay, absolutely final. I'm running really late. Aaron Jones, when healthy, is a start. Neighbors is a number one. Saquon Barkley is an MVP, so you have pros and cons here. I don't like Bigsby, but you have two studs in Kamara and Thomas. If you make this move, Aaron Jones, you're going to start. I mean, Kamara and JT are tough matchups. I mean, you got JT going against Pittsburgh, Kamara going against Atlanta. I like Kamara more, and I like JT. JT more as the player, Kamara this week, but Aaron Jones is a must start. Neighbors is a guy in a PPR league you do want. I'm leveling you with you, though. Saquon Barkley right now is basically an MVP. I get why you would want to do this, but you got some good running backs. I'm kind of for it this week, because Aaron Jones is going to have a good game against Green Bay. Saquon Barkley against Tampa Bay, I'm not sure. Can you do me a favor? Can you hold off for tomorrow? Because I'm ending the show right now. Hold off till tomorrow. I'm leaning towards it, but you have to understand Saquon Barkley is an MVP caliber dude in a PPR league. Neighbors is a solid 1 or 2. Aaron Jones this week is a must start, but if you don't mind the homie Roland, hit me up tomorrow or and for those of you who didn't get your questions answered, guess what? I'm back tomorrow for Fantasy Football Thursday. You can shoot me an email, dantalksfootball@yahoo.com, Twitter, Instagram. I'm out, but have a great night, and I hope to see everybody back tomorrow.